Welcome along to Moscow, to the final. They're already in Paris and Zagreb at the designated fan zones back in their own countries. It's France against Croatia. Their second ever meeting, by the way. Their last was a semi-final back in 1998 in Paris, which France won 2-1 in a no-temper game. Best remembered for Laurent Blanc's non-sending off. As we see Ronaldinho there joining in with a samba beat. There's been a closing ceremony before the game as well. The mascots involved. It's all coming great here, and the pitch now I've just seen being heavily watered for this final. So this is it really. The next 90 minutes could be even 120 minutes. It could even be penalties today. Croatia appearing in the World Cup final for the very first time, and France of course in their third final, won in 1998, 3-0 against Brazil. 2 goals that day from Zinedine Zidane and 1 from Manuel Petit. Vieira and Petit, actually. Vieira setting up and Petit. It was the third goal was definitely made in Arsenal. If the first 2 were made in Juventus, the club he was playing for at the time, it actually bagged him a terrific move to Real Madrid on the back of that one, Zinedine Zidane. And in 2006, if Zidane was the Euro in 98, he was certainly the villain 12 years ago when they last appeared in the final. Italy were the opponents. He got sent off in extra time. You may remember when he headbutted Materazzi in the chest. Italy went on to win on penalties in Berlin. Both teams incidentally unchanged, but I'll go through those lineups nearer the time after we've done all the anthems. The crowd here are absolutely buzzing, and I've got a full team of officials. I've been at it for the last hour, prepping and making sure that all the officials are correct and everything else. And my guess is that both teams, according to FIFA's website, they'll play a 4-2-3-1 formation. So that's 4 defenders, 2 holding central midfielders, 3 attacking midfielders, with 1 on the left, 1 on the right, and 1 central, and 1 up top. There's I think that's Will Smith there in the ground. It's just it's a great, unbelievable experience to be for a World Cup final. Croatia 2-1 winners over England, where I actually severely criticised them, although it was more to do with the refereeing than anything else. And from the 70th minute onwards they took over ownership, and in the end beat England after England had tired. But it'll be interesting to see how the fitness of these players, Croatian players, will stand up to the very tough, resolute defence of the French, who have been very consistent. Been absolutely no problems at all, and this really is fantastic. And this, folks, is the last commentary of the season. It started away back in last August, in fact, at Villa Park, a championship game between Hull and Aston Villa and Hull. And our season now finishes, well, for at least 2 or 3 weeks before the new one starts. We have our season finishes with a full match commentary of this 2018 FIFA World Cup final. And I have to say, you listeners who have tuned in have been absolutely superb. A big pat on the back to you guys as well. But I've got all the notes in front of me. That's just about laid out both countries. France on the left hand side, Croatia on the right, and there in that case is what it's going to be about. Charming, there it is, the glass case being opened by a beautiful blonde lady there decked out in a wonderful gold dress on the left of the picture as I'm looking in. And it really is, look at that beautiful trophy. That's what it's all about. First play for this current World Cup trophy back in 1974, replacing the old Jules Rimet trophy, which was won by Brazil 4 years earlier. The Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow, scene of course of Manchester United Chelsea. It's exactly 10 years ago now since that final, an All English Champions League final, one of the most dramatic finishes I could ever possibly remember. But it's been a great World Cup tournament. We've brought you over 100 hours of commentary and coverage of this great event on the JB Clark YouTube channel. It's been absolutely superb. and we always like to enjoy it. And I'd like to place on record my sincere thanks to my two colleagues and commentators, Chris Whiteman, of course, who did the third place match superbly well yesterday, and we hope to hear from him before the broadcast is out this evening. And of course Prosper, who has actually been very good today in the last couple of days towards me and Chris, providing us with key information of the teams and teams of officials. And so we not only do we thank you for his brilliant commentary in the early part of the tournament, we also thank you for his stats and his info as well throughout the tournament, and still being the usual contributor he usually is on the comments section. But there it is, the World Cup in front of us. It's absolutely there. It must be about 17-18 inches high, and it's a very heavy trophy, I must say. It is solid gold, and we mean solid gold. Nothing fake about the World Cup. Hugo Lloris looking to follow in the footsteps of Dino Zoff, being the first goalkeeper captain to lift the World Cup since then, 1982, when Dino Zoff lifted it up for Italy. And Luka Modric looking to follow in the footsteps of some great players that have lifted that famous trophy. Bobby Moore, Pelé, all them type of people. Kempes. Daniel Passarella was the captain then, Zoff of course, and Diego Maradona was the captain in 86. Lupa Mateus 90, Dunga 94, Deschamps 98, deputising for Zidane, and he could actually for Warren Blanc, who was sent off in the semi-final when these two last men in a World Cup match. Also, I mean, there's so many cute, terrific players that have lifted the World Cup over the years, and that's just a few of them. This really is. There's the Argentinian official, Nestor Pitana. What a big job he's got tonight. Well, we criticise the officials. Let's hope the Argentinian official can live up to the pace of the game. We'll be keeping his beady eyes on him. The teams come out and the roar will hit them like anything they've never heard before. There is the teams. They come out onto this fantastic pitch. It looks in excellent condition. There is the Luzhnyi Stadium in Moscow. This is where the final is. The French have been there before. This is their third World Cup final. They won one and lost one. Croatia, it's totally new territory for them. Their first ever final. The nearest they got, the furthest they ever got prior to that was 1998, when they finished third by beating Holland in the third place match. But before the lineups and the final itself, we're going to have the two national anthems. Well, there we are. The crowd are up for this one, that's for sure. Well, I'm absolutely delighted and privileged to be bringing you this World Cup final here in Moscow, and what a final it promises to be as the two teams shake hands on what could be an absolute classic, I hope. So let's bring you the two teams, shall we? Starting with France, and they're going to have Luis in goal. Then it's a back four of number 21 and Anders, who play at left back. Then the two centre backs from Titi and Raphael Varane, and the right back Benjamin Pavard. Then it's Matuidi on the left. N'Golo Kante, one of the two holding midfield. Antoine Griezmann, the attacking midfielder. Paul Pogba, the second holding midfielder. And Kylian Mbappe, with those 2 goals against Argentina, will play on the right of the free attacking, with Olivier Giroud in front, and the likes of Mandanda, Thomas Lemar, Dembele, Nzonzi, Rami, Fekir, Torvan and Mendy amongst many on the substitutes bench. Didier Deschamps, their coach, bidding to be the first to win the World Cup as a player, first as a player and as a manager. The referee today is Nestor Petano of Argentina. Hernan Miada and Juan Pablo Bonatti are the two assistants, and the fourth official today comes from Holland. That's beyond Kuip as a referee, of course, in his own right. A lot of people, including Chris Whiteman, said that the England game should have been refereed by him. Well, we've got a load of officials for you here. The big man in charge of the VAR is Maserati from Italy, and I'll give you the rest of them as we go on. Croatia then line up as follows: Subasic in goal, then it's Strinic at left back, Vida, one of the two centre backs, the second one obviously being number 16 Jan Lovren. Veselenko will play at right back, and then Perisic will play on the left as an attacking. Brozovic is one of the two holders. Modric will play further forward, the captain. Rakitic will play as the second holder, and Rebic will play on the right of the free attacking, with Mario Mandzukic, the match winner against England, up front, and the likes of Joe Luca, former Tottenham man, Kornijevic and Kramovic, formerly of Leicester City, would you believe, are amongst the substitutes. So we're all set to go. Well, Kylian Mbappe really set his tournament on fire in the last 16, of course, against Argentina in that never to be forgotten 4-3 match, which kicked off the knockout rounds some 2 weeks ago now, believe it or not. Does seem a heck of a long time ago, to be perfectly honest with you. The other officials, the reserve VAR referees, Stinger of Holland, and the offside VAR is Astroza of Chile. The assistant VAR is Rigano of Argentina, and Makeli of Denmark, of Holland. And it's Croatia in red and white to get us underway, and they're going to attack the goal to our left. France in all blue, and they're going to the right. And we will have a decision here this afternoon, folks, whether through 90 minutes, extra time possibly, or penalties. And of course, red and white checkers. So both teams in the traditional colours. Croatia with those very distinctive check shirts, and already an early touch on the ball there for Perisic, and they're keeping the ball around rather well. Hopefully they won't go any of that rough and tumble stuff they did for about 65 minutes in the semi-final against England. And I just hope there's no play acting, there's no silliness from either side. Let's hope for a good, clean game of football. I'm not bothered who wins today. I just want to see a good game of football, and I played in a terrific spirit. The two managers, you've got Didier Deschamps on the left-hand bench, and on the right-hand bench you've got Zlatko Dalic, who will make history whatever happens to Croatia this evening, being the first Croatian coach to manage in a World Cup final, or to take his country to a World Cup final. Minute and 15, 0-0. But City now on the edge of his own area, and he took a chance there. Should have tried to belt it out, and in fact he was fouled then by Rebic, but he took an out. In fact it was Modric, and in fact I think he made a bit more of that. I think that was I think he conned the referee a little bit. I felt Modric was a little unlucky. He had every right to go in there and win the ball there. The former Tottenham man, now playing his trade at Real Madrid, certainly pulled the strings, you may recall, a couple of months ago in the European Cup final. Paul Pogba of Manchester United on halfway on the right hand side, gets the ball forward, but well cut out by Vida. There'll be a few clubs, certainly from England, looking at him, putting some really impressive performances. So too will be Mario Mandzukic, that is for sure. Didier Deschamps, with his, I've just seen there with his arms folded. As I said, bidding to win the World Cup twice, once as a player, and in fact captain in 1998, and in the absence of Laurent Blanc, there's a free kick on halfway to the French. Bit of pushing and shoving going now on Hernandez, the left back, by Luka Modric, playing in a central midfield. In fact, it wasn't. Yes, it was. Yes, he got away from the number 18 there, Rebic, and then proceeded to be fouled there by Modric. So we can understand that. But here goes Perisic, who got the equaliser against England. Perisic now going towards the area, but again, City, who had a terrific game alongside Varane at the heart of the French defence in the other semi-final, and we kept Varane man in a match, you may remember. He'll need to have a big game to stark contrast the way his World Cup's panned out to the first game, when he inexplicably, brainlessly gave away a penalty to Australia, who could have actually drawn that match or got something out of it. And in the group phases weren't exactly brilliant. Croatia certainly played some of their best football, certainly against Argentina in the second match of 3. A game I had the very big privilege of covering, because they were real They made the world sit up and take notice with that display against Argentina. The Croats, they really do know how to play football. Although for 70 minutes you wouldn't have thought so with some of the tactics they were employing. And Lovren really should have missed the final today. The referee had been more on the ball, but that's not the Croatians' fault. But they're on the attack now and starting well. Good ball in there towards Mandzukic and headed out for a throw in line with the edge of the 6-yard box of the French. They've started well, the Croats. Big underdogs. France, the red hot favourites, and have been for some time. Russ is on. Hello, JB and the gang. And good afternoon to you, Russ. And I just want to say, well, we got a little bit of a break in play whilst and City gets the one ball forward. I just want to say thank you to Russ and to Chris, who have been really good work colleagues for the last month. And a big thank you to Russ for providing me the big information on the teams, and able to copy them down onto paper before the final and get the formations typed out and everything else. So thank you, a big thank you to Russ, and a big thank you to Chris, who I'm hoping that we'll hear from at the end of the match. For his thoughts on what was been a magnificent tournament. 0-0. Ball out for a goal kick. There's the coach of Croatia, the manager, Zlatko Dalic, and you've got to say what a job he's done getting the Croats to this stage. Whatever happens today, I'm sure everybody from the 4 million population of Croatia, how they churn out terrific talented footballers from a small country of 4 million, it just absolutely baffles me. Mind you could say the same about Iceland. That's a foul there by Mandzukic. A little bit rough and tumble again. I don't want to see the Croatians do that. They're a better team than a rough and tumble side. They're certainly not. If you watch them for 70 minutes on Wednesday night, you wouldn't think it was the same team that absolutely tonked Argentina 3-0 in the group phase, would you? But they did play well after 70 minutes to give them their fair dues, and in the end had that little bit of fitness. The only question mark you would have against the Croats, there are 3 knockout games. 2 of them have gone to penalties, and one, of course, the semi-final went to extra time. France, well, they needed 90 minutes in each of their last 3 knockout rounds. The 4-3 match against Argentina, the quarter-final when they absolutely destroyed Uruguay from start to finish, a game I had the privilege of covering. Highlight put there by Kante, free kick to Croatia. And of course the semi-final where they were just too good in the end for a very good Belgian side. They were absolutely ruthless in beating England in the match in the third place match yesterday. But I'm here in England, we'll get a hero's reception when they get back to England. They've just jetted off this morning. Well, 32 teams came here a month ago, hoping to win world football's biggest prize. and 2, and it's been tantalisingly whittled down to 2. Not many goalless draws have been in this final. Let's hope that's not a bad omen. I don't want a goalless draw in the final. There's going to be a lot of pressure on both sides. There's so much at stake. The opportunity of being a world champion doesn't come around that often. This is an opportunity now for one of these two teams. Strinic now goes down the left hand side. Strinic tries to get the ball back, and a good tackle there by Kylian Mbappe. In fact, I think getting back there and doing some terrific defensive work here. And Mbappe's pace here saves France, because Strinic is poised to cross, and Mbappe did well there. He just stood his ground. It is a corner though on the left hand side as we look near side. Modric looks as if it's going to be the floater. They were looking at the short corner, but France are rising up to that and marking very heavily there. It looks as if it's going to be a floated corner, long corner here. Modric with his right foot sends that in. Good fist away by Lloris, although not very far, but it will find Conte though on the far side, and that's a Croatia ball. It came off Conte last. Good decision there by the Argentinian officials. Play on it is, and now a chance here for a cross coming in from the far side by Rebic. Mandzukic was lurking in there inside the 6-yard area. France having a little bit of trouble here in the opening exchanges. We've been playing 8 minutes. And they've got themselves a 3 kick. It's 0-0, but Croatia very much on top of their game here. Although Rebic has clumsily given away a free kick, and a France real opportunity here for the French to just get a bit of breath back, because the Croats, I've got to say, have started at 1,000 miles an hour and actually are playing actually the better side in the first few minutes of this 21st World Cup final. Being played in Moscow. Of course, Germany, the holders, fell by the wayside in the opening group phase, which was a surprise to everyone. They were one of the bookies' favourites. I must confess, I did have France down as potential winners, and I'd gone for France at the start. I know part of me wanted England to do well, which they did. To finish 4th was no mean achievement by any stretch of the imagination. I know Chris Whiteman was very disappointed the way it all unfolded for them, but to be quite honest, I think it was one game too far. But you think what a tournament they've had, and the optimism now back in the country is one of sheer delight and happiness compared to 2 years ago when we were absolutely beaten to a pulp by Iceland. Here's a chance though for Strinic on the near side. Strinic now running at Pavard. Strinic playing the ball back, and then the ball back in by Perisic, who got the equaliser, although a little dubiously the other night, as the ball was lofted in there, but it's out for a throw-in. 10 minutes gone. France 0, Croatia 0. Croatia at the moment very much the better team in this opening 10 minutes of the 2018 World Cup final. This is Strinic again over the halfway, Perisic, sorry, over the halfway line. Back inside it goes. 0-0. But a good final in the making. Modric having plenty to say for himself in the opening exchanges. And keep your comments clean. We are a family show, as you well know. So we're the last commentary of the season. We started, as I say, 11 months ago. It's been 70 odd commentaries in over the last 11 months. In League, in Premier League, Football League, FA Cup, EFL Cup, as that ball knocked in there towards Perisic, but he can't control it, and out for a goal kick. Yeah, we've covered the lot. Premier League, Football League, FA Cup, EFL Cup final, the Champions League, the Europa League final, and this couple of international matches here and there, and the FIFA World Cup, which has been well, the knockout rounds for us has been an undoubted success in terms of listenership and viewership. Nearly 30,000 of the last sort of few days have been tuning into our coverage around the world, and that's a testament to you guys that have been listening. Throw-in conceded by Croatia. Hernandez with a good enterprising run down that far side, left hand side. Lemon with the Croatian penalty area. Real chance here for the French to get a foothold into the game. 11 minutes gone here in Moscow. 0-0. And it's cut out, and it's back with Pogba. Now, and chance here for Varane to get his 2 on the ball, finds Pavard on the right hand side, backing field. It goes to Varane 10 yards inside his own half. Pavard again gets the ball back to Hugo Lloris, who controls it by his penalty spot and hooks the ball way over halfway. A couple of second balls won there, but it's Croatia that come away with the ball. Pogba stifling Modric down halfway and doing terrifically well and winning the ball immensely well. But in France now just having a little bit of possession, just to get them relaxed with 12 and a half minutes on the clock. 0-0 here in this 2018 FIFA World Cup final in Moscow, the Luzhniki Stadium, who of course was the setting for the second semi-final between Croatia and France. The French semi-final was played in St. Petersburg, which was also the venue for England yesterday afternoon when they were beaten 2-0 by Belgium. On ball over towards Giroud. There's the Russian President Vladimir Putin. He must be proud of his country. They've hosted a great World Cup, in all fairness to them. I don't know, you wouldn't have known it from our point of view about 8 years ago when they were first awarded the thing. Was it to gain money? Sepp Blatter was the disgraced president at the time, and was it for FIFA to benefit from the oil, from the big business of oil? Well, it's all conspiracy theories now. But they've hosted a very good World Cup, in all fairness to them, and I think Russia can be pleased as a country. Just a quick word: I think Donald Trump has actually left the UK and he's actually going over to Russia tomorrow to see Vladimir Putin. So that could be an interesting topic of conversation tomorrow. But enough about politics. It's all about the football now, as Hugo Lloris now kicks with his left foot way over the halfway line. Header won by Giroud. Incidentally, he's yet to score in the competition, but has kept his place up top. But here's a chance for Perisic now down the left hand side. Mandzukic waits in the centre, and in the end Umtiti got back and concedes a throw level with his own penalty area. It was a good run there by Perisic. He's got a very good attitude about him, and he's a dangerous looking player, as England found out on Wednesday. And Zukic of course got the winner. He's a big match player. He scored in the European Cup final 5 years ago at Wembley for Bayern Munich. Scored the opening goal in a 2-1 win over their German rivals Borussia Dortmund in an old German Champions League final, you may remember. Modric has it now just to the on the Croatia right, at the far side as we look. Now the referee has stopped there. There's an injury here, and it's the number 4, I think, Perisic, who's down. And this could be a big problem because he's one of their better players. I'm not sure if he's winded or he's hurt his arm, or we've had a quarter of an hour here and no goals, and Perisic looks as if he's holding his cheek here. Let's have a look. Ooh, there was a little bit of a collision off the ball there between Perisic and Pavard. I just hope that the nastiness doesn't boil over, because we don't want a potentially showpiece final spoilt by some stupid play like that. I think it was purely accidental, but we don't want to see elbows or silly tackles like that. It would ruin the spectacle of what could be a potentially explosive final in terms of the football. And we want to talk about the football at the end of the day. We want to see the good side of the game, and that's up to the Argentinian referee. He's got to referee sensibly for me. This is Giroud now. He pushed out to the far side. Well won there by the defenders. Perisic's trying to get forward, but Giroud barged him away legally, said the Argentine referee. 0-0 here with 16 and a half minutes almost gone here in Moscow. Hernandez down the left hand side for France. Chips the ball in towards the Croatian penalty box. Header won by Giroud. Now Mbappe on the near side, the right hand side. Mbappe turns his man well away from the defender. Ball pulled back and it just comes off a couple of Croats, and in the end the Croats haven't really got it away too well. And now they have with Perisic. He can get that forward, but he's only giving it away straight to for first real involvement in the match, and he's been brought down. The Argentinian official said here, having words with the number 11 Brozovic. Griezmann. Although Griezmann, to be fair, may have tripped up himself. Did he touch it? Yeah, he did touch him actually, to be fair. It's a good decision there by the Argentina referee. Yeah, it just takes him out there. Ball whatsoever, but a free kick in a very promising position. Just to the right of the D. Well, to the right of the D, about 30 yards maybe. A bit more than that. And we've seen Trippier hit a free kick in the semi from more central distances. Griezmann has got the capacity to smash one in from there. The angle's there on the left foot, so he may well be tempted to float it into the penalty area. There's about 7 or 8 French, 5, 6, 7 French players in there, and a goal! The free kick was floated in. There was a touch on there, and it might have gone all the way in because Griezmann is celebrating right by the corner flag, and I think he might have gone straight in. Mandzukic as well, they're looking at as a possible own goal, but Croatia are behind undeservedly, in my opinion, because they have been the better teams. But from the free kick, well, there may have been a doubt there, and maybe an offside. I can't tell who got the final touch. Griezmann took the free kick, left-footed. Now who gets the touch here? It's Mandzukic. It's an own goal. It's an own goal by the match winner on Wednesday, Mario Mandzukic. Oh, you've got to feel for him, and you've got to feel a bit of sympathy there for the Croats. They've been the better team, there's no doubt about that, but they find themselves a goal down, and Russ is right, it is an own goal. I just couldn't tell from the naked eye. It looked as if Griezmann free kick had gone straight in, but it hadn't. It's Mandzukic's own goal, and it will, unfortunately for him, go down in the history books as a Mario Mandzukic own goal. And the Croats, who have performed magnificently well so in the opening exchanges of this final, find themselves a goal down. Well, at least the final is not going to end goalless, thank heavens. But you've got to feel some sympathy there for poor Mario Mandzukic. He got the merest affliction. Unfortunately, it was enough to take it into the back of the net. But Croatia must not panic. They've only been playing 19 minutes, but we have an opening goal. 18 minutes gone. 1-0 to France. And that was their first real set piece of the match. But a word of warning, Croatia are far from finished in this final, as England found out to their cost in the semi-final. And the free kick on the far side to Croatia. Silly foul conceded by Kante on Modric, who has really been a terrific playmaker. Certainly took over in the last 20 minutes of normal time when England were really tiring in St. Petersburg. And this is a big free kick. Modric, right hand side, far side as we look. 20.5 minutes gone. 3, 4, 5 red and check shirts in the penalty area. Modric swings it in right footed, and the header won inside the penalty area by Vida, but over the top. Big blonde ponytailed central defender winning the ball just to the right at the penalty spot, but got too much purchase on the header on 7 or 8 yards, and it zoomed over the top of Hugo Lloris's crossbar, and Lloris in actual fact wasn't required there to make a save. So we're coming up towards the halfway mark of the first half. 1-0 to France, and against the run of the play, one has to confess, France that was their first real opportunity of the match after Croatia had dominated the opening exchanges. But again, if you don't take your chances or you don't get your opportunities, invariably you do get punished. But you have to have a little bit of sympathy for poor Mario Mandzukic now, who will have to carry that burden of an own goal in a World Cup final. He's been there, sitting and done it in a lot of occasions as Lloris kicks along from a little bit of a a Schulte's back pass, which the Croats nearly pounced upon. But now Giroud has charged that one down, but the referee is blown for an infringement. Much to Giroud's constellation or frustration, I think that might be the better word of it, and I can't see where a free kick came from there. 22 minutes gone, 1-0 to France. An own goal after 18 minutes by Mandzukic is the difference between these two fantastic, consistent football sides. Here's Mbappe now towards the penalty area, just to the right of the D, and a good tackle there by Vida, having to slide in there. Always risk when you go to ground, but he did well. Now Rakitic, the man whose penalties in the shootout got Croatia so far, and he was one of the better players for Croatia for me in the semi-final against England. That's a definite free kick on number 18 Rebic. Looks as if they've swatched sides, Perisic and Rebic for the time being. Now can Mandzukic make up and wipe out that own goal with a headed goal himself? Number 3 Strinic and number 8 Modric over the free kick left of left-hand touch line, about midway inside, or just over midway inside the French half, and it's the right foot, and there was a bit of pushing and shoving going on now. The Argentinian ref says no penalty. I'd have to look at that again, but I wouldn't be too surprised if the Croats actually try and claim VAR after all this, unless they can score here from this next attack. Ball played in by Mandzukic of all people, then the shot over the top from the number 7 Rakitic with his left foot, and well, there's some arguments going on here. Is he giving a penalty? Well, let's have a look at it again. The French are furious, and look at that! He's got Pogba's got a fistful of Mandzukic's shirt there. I'm amazed that's not been given. I think that's a penalty to Croatia. Mandzukic is looking very critical at the referee. I don't know why the French were surrounding the referee. That looked a nailed on penalty. He had a fistful of shirt there, surely Pogba. It has to be a penalty, but it isn't, and it's Hernandez on towards Griezmann, and away by Butarenko. Russ has just given me a nice little statistic there. The Mandzukic own goal, incidentally, is the 12th own goal so far of this World Cup tournament. But you feel for the poor lad. He could have had a penalty just a second or two ago, but you know, when you're an attacker trying to do the defending, sometimes it can work for you, sometimes it can work against you, and unfortunately it worked against poor Mario Mandzukic. He did his best to stem the tide, if you like, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But Croatia can't be too alarmed. There's still a long way to go. 25 minutes gone in the final, the first half. Croatia now still trying to get themselves back on course after a setback, and it was a terrible setback for them, but they are a good enough side to come back, as they showed in the semi-finals. As Giroud there, well, that was no more than a high foot than the Perisic equaliser the other day, and I've got to say that's an absolute poor decision by the Argentinian official. If you see, that's the problem with the referees in this tournament. They're not consistent enough. It's all well and good giving a goal for what perceives to be a much higher foot than what Giroud got done for about 2 or 3 minutes ago. Just beggars belief. I just wish these referees would referee with a bit more consistency at the World Cup. That would be my message to FIFA. Get better referees, because at the moment the referees that I've seen have been no better than the Premier League referees we've seen week in, week out, and they're not even here, which is one of the more mysterious things. I would have thought Michael Oliver would have been up on everyone's list to be one of the refs at this tournament. I'm not saying too much about the officials, but one or two of them, certainly from the lesser countries, have just not stepped up to the plate. But that's a debate for another day, as France come forward with Pavard, but Rebic does well, and hooked away by Vida. Up over the halfway line now, Mandzukic, the big tall centre forward, and he's been hustled and bustled again. Yellow card given. against Hernandez, who now has to watch his step for the remainder of the match. In fact, it wasn't. It was number 4, Perisic, going through the centre. They all look tall to me. Well, that's Kante, surely. Is it Hernandez or is it Kante? Well, I have to say that's a harsh decision against N'Golo Kante, because I don't think he touched him there. I don't think it was a dive. I think what happened was Perisic has tripped over his feet, and the referee's interpretation of it is completely the opposite side to what actually happened. Well, it's no way a yellow card tackle. It looks a harsh decision, and that's nothing against the Croats. It wasn't a dive, he's just practically tripped over his own feet. Here's the free kick though, and here's the Modric towards the far side. Mandzukic with a flick on. Vida's in there too, so too is the shot. Oh, the goal! Oh, what a fantastic goal by Perisic. There's no saving that one. It's 1-1, and you know what? They deserve it. The Croats have hit back straight away. I told you it wasn't a foregone conclusion. Lloris never stood a chance. It was from the left hand, just to the left of the D, and his faithful left foot absolutely smashed it in and right into the bottom left hand corner. You cannot deny the Croats don't deserve it, because they do. They've played really well, and they've actually played quite enterprising football, although the French will be absolutely disappointed with the referee decision. That's nothing against Perisic in the first place, because he just tripped over himself. There was no play acting involved even in trying to win a free kick. I don't think he expected a free kick, but take nothing away from the strike. He's hit that superbly well, just on the edge of the area, into the far corner, and as soon as it's left his left foot, the goalkeeper's got absolutely no chance, and we have a final with a vengeance. And this is probably one of the best World Cup finals I've seen for years. 1-1 here in Moscow, and this is a real open final. I'm having and that's his that's 2 goals in 2 for him, and 3 goals in 7 in total for Ivan Perisic. What a fantastic goal! What an half an hour we've had here in Moscow. It's been an absolute ball, and I hope you're enjoying it all the way back in the UK or New Zealand or wherever you're from. Kevin's there, and he's loving every minute of it. And why not? France have a throw-in now. It's their turn to raise their game and try and hit back. What a half an hour it has been. France 1, Croatia 1. And the final living up to its billing. No doubt about that. As Pogba gets the ball back to Lloris in an all-yellow strip. Lloris with his left foot kicks away well over the halfway to the right-hand side. Pogba with a flick on, and the flag is up for offside against Kylian Mbappe. Although a little late, but I think the referee from the assistant on Argentina got it right. Just looking at the replay. Yes, he's about a yard off, if that. Good decision. Russ actually saying 1 goal, only 1 game. That was France, in fact, against Denmark. So, in fact, Russ has said it's the 1 goalless draw. In fact, well, we didn't cover that. But we've covered so many games. And CW, my good friend and colleague, will be doing a compilation on his YouTube channel, which is CW94, or Casual Chris. He'll have the best of the commentaries from the tournament. He'll do highlights and relive the whole thing. There will be some motion shots, but it'll all be done in stencils, of course. But so I would go subscribe to Casual Chris's channel if you want to see that once the tournament is over in a couple of days' time. But 1-1 here in an absolute classic here, and we haven't been disappointed at all. Kante will feel a little aggrieved by the award, but there was no diving or no shenanigans going on from the Croats there. I can categorically see a long ball forward, and that's going to run out of play. Although Perisic was a little bit clumsy there on Hernandez, but it is a throw-in, in fact, I think, to France. Although it should really be a free kick. Although, yeah, just a shoulder charge. Although I did show him over a little bit. But still a French ball, regardless of whether it's a free kick or a throw-in. So I don't think there's too many complaints around the pitch at the moment. 1-1, 31.5 minutes gone. Well, we couldn't have wished for a better final, and I was sitting here most of the afternoon doing my prep and thinking to myself, we haven't had a great World Cup final for a while. It's been, the last 2 or 3 have been a little bit I've been a little bit on the poor side in terms of quality of football, but I don't think we can complain about the quality of football so far in this first period. It's been a joy to watch, and one of the best World Cup finals I've seen for a very, very long time. And it's anybody's as well, which makes it that even more intriguing and that bit more interesting now, because what it does do now is both teams now will go there looking for another one. If one of these two teams can get in the lead before half time, it'll be a big blow to strike. And Zukic is making his way to the area. Now the cross now from Rebic or Perisic, and it's straight into the arms of Hugo Lloris. So an own goal for Mandzukic after 18 minutes, and then a few moments to go as Croatia concede a corner. Vida conceding a corner, uncharacteristic for him to concede, but a terrific shot from Perisic just before the half-hour markers has given the Croats lift off in the final. 33 minutes gone, and France here have a free kick. Griezmann to take the corner. France, of course, looking to learn the lessons of 2 years ago when they were red-hot favourites to beat a substandard Portugal team who lost Cristiano Ronaldo around this time and then lost after extra time. They don't want history to repeat itself. There's a little bit of delay going on while the referee sorts out any potential pushing and shoving, and France are interested in trying the England trick of lining up 5 in a queue there, as Griezmann sets the corner in from the far side, and almost the second one. Although France are appealing for a handball, they'll try and get VAR involved, and they're surrounding the referee. Now, is he going to go to VAR? Is it going to be needed for the first time in this final? Well, here's the corner. Was there a hand? Whoa, I tell you what, Perisic has got his hand suspiciously out to me. Yes, his hand's out. I think it touches him on the hand. I think France might have a case here. I think that's a penalty. I think France have got every grievance to be annoyed about that. It looked a clear handball. His hand looked suspiciously out. You see there's a little flick on. I don't care if he's 2 yards away from when the ball's headed on. That has to be a penalty in my book. And if he hasn't given it, then I think that's a poor decision from the VAR official. Oh, he's going to it. He's going to VAR. VAR being called up in the first time in this final. We haven't had it too much in the knockout rounds, but he's going over to the beach green, or to the screen by the tunnel. Now we've got eye drama here in this action-packed World Cup final. He's having a look at the... They've reviewed it, the French. It did look a possible handball. Now watch the arm. I'm just watching now. The arm is definitely out. It's a penalty to me. I think that's a penalty. I think, without a shadow of a doubt, that's a penalty. And I'll be absolutely, and I'm going to make a call now. I'll be absolutely amazed if he doesn't give a penalty here. Amazed, because to me, on closer inspection, that hits his hand, and his hand is out. It's not down by his side. If it was down by his side, you would say that was not a penalty. Now he's going back to have another look. He left for a second and then pirouetted back round to the screen. And just look at that. There's no doubt at all that the number 4 there, Perisic, has got his arm out. Now I'll be absolutely amazed. And a penalty's been given, and quite rightly so. It looked a penalty, and Croatia can have no complaints about that. Good review there from the French, but they've still got to convert the spot kick, of course. But Perisic definitely guilty of handball. You cannot run the risk of having your arm out. And if his arm was down below, it would be a different story, but the hand was there. And now everybody in Croatia will be looking to their goalkeeper Subanic, who's been a penalty hero in a couple of the recent shootouts. And they're going to need him now more than ever. The Croats aren't happy, but there's no case to answer for them. Perisic is guilty as sin. It's a penalty. There's no doubt about it. VAR's got that one absolutely spot on for me. Straight away, and the French had every right to review that. And that's a good call from the Argentinian officials, and of course the VAR official, Mr. Arati from Italy. Fantastic decision. Fantastic decision. But it's down to Griezmann now. There's been a bit of a delay, and they have complained, but they haven't a case to answer, the Croats. You can understand their frustration, but it's a penalty. You can argue another time, but Griezmann has not missed one yet. 5 penalties for France. He scored 3 to the right and 2 to the left. And this will be a bit of a guessing game for Subasic now. It's a short run up. He favours a short run up about 3 yards, which is always a worry. But with Griezmann's record, he's not too shabby from penalties, as we've seen. He scored his last 5. Left foot. Subasic moving on the line. So Griezmann against Subasic from 12 yards. France against Croatia from the penalty spot. Griezmann steps up, hits it left-footed, scores down the middle, and to the left of the goal. And Griezmann, with his little tippy-tappy celebration, puts the French back in front. 2-1 they lead. And Croatia, I'm afraid, have got no complaints because the VAR got it absolutely right. You cannot get away with an handball when the ball is clearly hitting your hand, when the hand is in a natural position. You run the risk of giving a penalty away, and the VAR officials and the referee, having consulted them, got it absolutely right. No doubt at all in my mind that was a penalty. From first inspection, I didn't see too much of it from the naked eye, I must admit, but that's what the VAR system was brought in for. That's his 4th goal. He's still 2 behind Harry Kane in the Golden Boot Award chart. That's 4 in 7 for him, and he puts France 2-1 into the lead as we're coming towards the final 6 minutes of really a real open and terrific first half, which has been full of incident, plenty of dramas, VAR, and 3 goals. And here's Perisic now looking to get back. Is it going to be another one? Oh, and almost then. And Rebic, by the penalty spot, hit it with his left foot on the volley. And if he'd have connected properly, that might have been 2-2. Wow! It's been some first half here in Moscow, hasn't it? I have to say, it's been one of the most dramatic and best World Cup finals I've probably seen for a long, long time. Probably since 1998. Here's Mbappe now, down the right. Can France finish with a flourish and make it 3-1? This has been, for a World Cup final, this has been an absolute belting of a match. You could not wish for any better. And Hernandez there made a good tackle, although the Argentinian official says it was a little bit illegal. Hernandez asked the question, well, I think that's a bit harsh. Second French player in the book. I didn't think it was a yellow card tackle. He certainly, for me, went with the intentions of getting the ball. But Hernandez, whether it was right or wrong, is in the book. And it's 2-1 to France now with 5 minutes to go to half time. I think we need to lie down after all this first half. My voice certainly does anyway. 2-1 to France. Well, VAR's played a huge part in the tournament. We've had double the amount of penalties we had in the Brazilian World Cup about 4 years ago. But let's be fair. VAR was we were a bit critical at the start. It was used incorrectly, but in the final, when it mattered most, VAR's been spot on. I know it's Alan Shearer's favourite subject, and I know you love talking about it not, but you've got to say VAR got it spot on. Fantastic performance. Kevin saying he's already lying down. You're a bit early yet. You've got another 4.5 minutes of this, 3.5 minutes to go. Now this tackle, that to me, it's a free kick. That's a fair enough. Give a free kick, but the yellow card, I think the referee was a little bit overzealous with his cards. Certainly there were worse a challenge in the semi-final by Dejan Lovren, which weren't even... Oh, Subasic almost for a second or two missed kick, but the ball just had enough on the legs, or just didn't have enough legs for it to travel back, and Subasic was able to recover in time. My goodness me, what a first half. And if the second half is anything like the first half, I think we're going to be in for a rip-roaring game. There's a Croat gone down off the ball, and they're appealing for a free kick. I think Mandzukic was half appealing for a free kick. Now the referee here has got some stuff to do here. Now this is what happened. Titi, well, he's got both arms around Mandzukic. He does make a little meal of it. It is a free kick. There is a definite push, but Mandzukic just tend to play it out a little bit, or force a decision. And he's desperate to make up for his earlier wicket when he put through his own net after 18 minutes of the final. Croatia can think themselves a bit unfortunate really at this stage. Here's the free kick by Modric from the far side, header one inside the penalty area, and again it was and a shot back in from Lovren of all people, deflected away for a corner. But once again, that man again, Perisic, winning the ball and winning the header from the free kick. He's got that capacity there, trying to head it back towards Ida, I think, and then the shot came in and hit Pogba and behind for a corner. The right-footed drive to the left of the goal there from Lovren. It's a corner now, Modric to take. Once again, the referee watching for pushing and shoving. Here comes the corner in towards the penalty area, flicked on, and that nearly went anyway. In fact, it went for a corner from Titi. My goodness me, that was a good corner from Rakitic, in fact. So he's going to have a second goal here, Rakitic. So Rakitic again, they're going for the short one, I think. No, they're going to lob that in there towards the penalty area. And no, nothing doing there. The French scramble it away. In fact, there's a French player down in the penalty area, but Croatia deciding to play on to the dismay of the French, and they've got a corner here, the Croats, of Pogba, and Umtiti is hurt, and the play will have to stop for a second or two as we go into the final minute of normal time here. Well, it was a collision there between Umtiti and Lovren that has caused the injury for Samuel Umtiti. The man who got the winning goal, you may remember, in the semi-finals on Tuesday. It may have been a slight push, but it was an accidental collision between the two players. Don't understand why the Russian director decided to show a second replay of it. We know what caused it the first time. As Rakitic lines up the corner, and he is genuinely hurt. There's no play acting going on there. This is a big blow for France if they were for him to leave the field, because then it would give a new centre-back pairing there alongside Varane and Titi. I'm pleased to report, hopefully will be okay. We're going to have 3 added minutes to add to all the excitement here. France are temporarily down to 10 men while Titi receives treatment, so Rakitic can take field. The corner can be floated in by Rakitic. There was a 6 in the side there, and I think Fina had got up inside the 6-yard box, almost central to the goal, and he got a flick, but he flicked it wide of the far post and behind for a corner for a goal kick rather than France. 30 seconds of the 3 minutes gone. It's a good corner there from Rakitic, and Vida there just needs a better contact, and that's possibly 2-2. The Croats have played. I think the Croats have played very well, I have to say. They've been very unlucky, and it's going 2-1 down, but when you run the risk of having your hand out in a natural position and the ball hits your hand, then I'm afraid you run the risk of a penalty being awarded against you, and that's exactly what happened in that instance after 39 minutes, and the referee and the VAR officials were Johnny on the spots, and I thought it was the correct decision. Now it's a test of Croatia's resolve and fitness, of course, because they played 3 bouts of extra time already in the knockout rounds. Could they come again for a 4th time? Well, 39% France. Croatia had more possession. They've only had 1 shot, France. They've scored 2 goals, 7 for Croatia, and Croatia covered the more kilometres, 43 kilometres to France's 42 as a team. You can understand why the Croats will be in a little bit of grief to be 2-1 down, but remember, the only shot on target came from a penalty for France by Antoine Griezmann. The other goal, in case you tuned in late, has been an own goal by Mandzukic, Then was equalised by Perisic with an absolute 20-yard thunderbolt to the left of the D on the edge of the area with his left foot right into the corner. It was absolutely a superb goal to level it up, and now we're deep into the 3 minutes of time added on as the ball was trying to be fed towards him back inside the penalty area. So we've got about 40 seconds of the free to go with the 3 minutes left, and I think it will be also a good time for everyone to take a break for 15 minutes, get our breath back for what could be an enthralling second half. And my word, it's been an enthralling second half. Well, an enthralling first half, I should say, as the cross comes in. There might be more drama then, as Perisic once again was almost within a whisker of equalising again. This is Strinic, and now he's lost it, and then he's brought down his man. And that will see France to half-time. But once again, the delivery from the far side there was absolutely superb. Strinic trying to nutmeg him back, and then out of frustration just tugs back the French player and gives away a free kick. And we've played the 3 minutes, and surely that will be that. Now it's all down to the Argentinian refs' discretion to see how much longer we're going to have on extra in this World Cup final. And it's Varane with the free kick. Varane over the halfway line, and there goes the half-time whistle from Mr. Pitama of Argentina. Well, it was a goal after Mario Mandzukic that got the scoring up and running after 18 minutes. Then just before the half-hour mark, a terrific 20-yard left-footed thunderbolt from Perisic equalised the scores, and then a penalty given for VAR by the Italian VAR official and the referee from Argentina for handball against the goal scorer Perisic was converted fantastically well by Griezmann into the left-hand corner, and we've got a half-time situation here in one of the best World Cup finals I think I've ever seen so far, of France 2, Croatia 1. And I believe Chris Whiteman is joining me at the moment. We're just going to stay on air for a little while longer, because Chris Whiteman is about to join me now in a second or two. But a great first half, and it has been absolutely extraordinary the way the game has actually panned out. I think Chris wants to say a few things.
Well, some people say it's a definite penalty because his arm's not by his side. Other people say he's got no time to react, because I could hear Glenn Hoddle waffling on for ITV saying it's not deliberate handball. But it doesn't have to be deliberate. If what Perisic has done, whether it's deliberate or not, it's hit his hand and it's prevented it from going across the 6-yard box, where there's plenty of bodies flinging themselves at it. So if it doesn't hit his hand, it goes across the 6-yard box, and anything could happen. It could be deflected into the goal, somebody could finish it, or it could be cleared. So I think ultimately that is the correct decision, as harsh as some people may value it. But yeah, I haven't seen the other two goals as of yet, but I will rewind a little bit, and I can give you my thoughts on that a little bit later. But yeah, I come back from work and it's all going off. But I was quite surprised to see that Croatia at that point was still level, but obviously France have pulled ahead with that penalty from Griezmann. So, although I wasn't a particular fan of his celebration in front of the Croatian fans, that flipping fortnight loser thing, that's a little bit, come on, just grow up a little bit, Griezmann. That was a little bit untasteful. But there you go. That's my only complaint about it, really. But yeah, it's quite a fiery World Cup final, got to say.
Well, thank you, Chris. You missed an absolute. Well, I have to say, Chris, you missed an absolute treat of a goal from Perisic, my villain of the last round. But he hit a fantastic goal to level it up, and of course, Mandzukic's own goal. He was trying to do a bit. Griezmann had floated a crossing or a free kick in from the right, and then he's got the merest touch into the far corner. But it's been a great first half so far. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I think everyone should take a break. I'm going to get myself a bit of refreshment, and I don't know what else to say about that first half, but it's been an absolute thriller minute. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back for the second half of what could be an absolute thrilling second half. I hope you can join us for France against Croatia, because I'm now going to get myself a nice cuppa and catch my breath, because I'm going to need my voice more than ever now for the second 45 minutes. If it's anything like the first half, I think we're going to in for an absolute cracker. Half time here in Moscow, France 2, Croatia 1. I'll be back in a tick.
Well, with John gone, I'll try and keep you guys entertained, and we'll go through some of the comments. I wasn't really planned to be here, but I was expected to be here at full time, but there we go. It's just how things have panned out. So, Kevin, hi. Nice to see you back in the stream again. And Exchange Gaming also says hi. Absolutely Anonymous is also here, as is Russ. Everyone seemed to be saying and agreeing that it's the penalty decision was a good decision. Brandon, the Voltball commentator, is also here. Nice to see him again. So, we can talk through some other football news. France can do that 3-1. Well, they're currently 2-1 up. They're only 1 away. Let's talk through some other football news, shall we? So, in the last 5 hours, Felipe Anderson, former Lazio player, has now signed for West Ham for a club record fee earlier on today. It's a fee that could rise to £41.5 million, which is, well, silly money for West Ham United at least. Anyway, so big signing for him. A lot of people wondering who Felipe Anderson is. Some people mistaking him for the one that used to play for. Yes, it was a Fortnite celebration, Kevin. It's sadly a lot of these modern footballers seem to be playing a lot of video games in their spare time, and the Fortnite. I don't dislike Fortnite, but I just think bringing the celebrations is a little bit childish. But there you go. Anyway, back to Felipe Anderson. Some people are mistaking him for the one that used to play for Manchester United back in the late noughties. But no, he's a Brazilian who used to play for Santos. Obviously, Santos were well renowned for producing their young Brazilian talents. Joined Lazio in 2013, where he made a name for himself, and he's done extremely well. And now, obviously, he's going from Lazio to West Ham, which will be interesting to see. Obviously, there's been a lot of good Brazilians that have joined from, I would say, obscure teams. That would be almost insulting to Lazio, but have joined from a very different league. It's sort of as a relative unknown to English fans anyway. And there's obviously Philippe Coutinho is a perfect example of that, as is Roberto Firmino. There's quite a few, ironically both at Liverpool, but the point still stands. At the moment, the fee stands at £36 million, but as I said, it could rise to 41.5. And it beats the 22 million they paid for Issa Diop last month. It's quite a lot more. So Manuel Pellegrini's he's been very busy signing quite a lot of names. You've got Jack Wilson for free, and then Andrei Yarmolenko. So there's also Lucas Fabianski's also joined, Ryan Fredericks. They've been very busy, West Ham. So they're certainly going to be gunning for that top 10 position in the Premier League. Other news today, obviously Novak Djokovic, I do believe, was in action in Wimbledon, and he he won Wimbledon. In fact, spoiler alert. Sorry, should have probably said spoiler alert first, but he won that in straight sets. So, well, the last set went to a tiebreak. So Anderson took him all the way in that one, but. Another Grand Slam title for Djokovic. He's kind of been out in the cold recently, but he's managed to come back a little bit. So he's done all right, Djokovic, in that one. I've always enjoyed his personality in tennis. I thought he's quite a funny guy. Good to see him back at the top. Other football news, obviously Wayne Rooney made his debut for DC United over in the MLS yesterday. He came on in the second half in front of a 20,000 strong crowd, should I say, at the new Audi Field, which is the name of DC United Stadium. 20,000's, about just a tad smaller than Turf Moor, so it's probably not used to playing in front of a crowd that, I wouldn't say small, but not quite, Old Trafford, Goodison Park, 40, 70,000. So in front of bigger ones. But he came on in the second half and almost scored a goal, but set up Paul Aurora for a goal as well. So he's come on and immediately made an impact for DC United. And to be fair, a player of Wayne Rooney's quality, as much as he may be on the downturn, as some people say, he's more than good enough to be a star in that division, which, you've got players like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Ashley Cole is still in that division. Kaká was there for a long time. There's a lot of good talent going into the MLS, and it's something that I usually watch during the other summers when a World Cup or Euros isn't on, because the MLS is on, and it's quite interesting to see how players do. You've got, like, former Burnley player Chris McCann is playing over there as well for Atlanta, who have one of the most impressive football stadiums I have ever seen. The big Mercedes-Benz stadium. Definitely look it up. It is an immense feat of engineering, and it's an incredible atmosphere. As we're getting more like that. I like Tottenham Hotspur. Have you heard of that? Yes, I'm fully aware of who Tottenham Hotspur are. They're going to be quite a good team next year, I imagine, of their brand new stadium, which they'll be moving into. Funny, Kevin saying, funny, both my kids play Fortnite and both their rugby teams are full of Fortnite celebrations. Well, it doesn't surprise me that it's spilling over into all sports. It is very popular, don't get me wrong. Maybe I've just grown a little bit too old for video games myself, I'm not sure. Might just be my attitude. Who's going to win the championship? I hope it's Norwich City. Well, the championship this year, goodness me, place your bets at your peril. It's goodness knows who's going to win that division. It's anyone's game. I mean, you've got the teams in it are ridiculous. You've got Aston Villa, Birmingham, you've got Blackburn Rovers, Bolton, Bristol City, Derby, Hull, Ipswich, Leeds, Middlesbrough, Millwall, Norwich, Nottingham Forest, two-time European champions. Obviously, Villa won the European Championship as well. You've got QPR, have recently been in the Premier League. You've got the two Sheffield clubs, Stoke, West Brom and Swansea, who have just dropped down. Wigan as well, ex-Premier League. That division, anyone from that division can go up. I mean, Preston were knocking on the door of the playoffs last year round. It's literally, there isn't a weak team in that division. I mean, I wouldn't be able to hedge my bets on who would go down either, to be honest. I mean, it will be really difficult. So, I mean, if you want to go with Norwich City, that's a fair shout. It's going to be really tough. Who's going to win the Premier League? Hope it's Man United or Tottenham. Well, I'd be surprised if either of those two won it. Kevin says not Palace. Thank God. Well, you never know. You could have another Leicester City on your hands. Could you imagine Roy Hodgson winning the Premier League? The victory speech would be terrible. But I have no idea who's going to win the Premier League. I'd be safe and say it's probably going to be Man City again, but they'll be sat on that perch being ready to be knocked off by the next nearest contender. So who knows? I mean, I really have no idea how the top two divisions in England are going to go, quite frankly, because, I mean, the usual top six are going to be fighting for it. I mean, if Burnley hadn't had an 11-game injury spell, which knocked us out of the top four contention, who knows where we could have finished, but that's being a little bit too optimistic. But what football team do I like? Exchange. I'm a fan of Burnley because I was born there, which answers the second question. Why would you support a team like that? It's where I'm from. I'm proud of it, and that's just how it is. A lot of questions come from Kevin. Anyway, going back to the news, as I was slightly sidetracked. So obviously Wayne Rooney making his debut for DC United. We also had Steven Gerrard making his competitive managerial bow for Rangers in the Europa League qualifiers. They're in the first round of the Europa League qualifiers. Burnley get involved a few weeks later in the second round of qualifiers, but Rangers had to play their first leg in their first round of European qualifiers, which was quite interesting. Obviously, Burnley fans will know that Scott Arfield is now playing for them, which, a lot of people were sad to see him go, but it's a good career move for him, and he still gets to experience the Europa League, much like we are. But Rangers, they got underway. They got their European campaign underway fairly with a good victory. So it was a 2-0 victory. Goals from Murphy and an injury time penalty from Tavernier gave them a victory over Scoopy, FK Scoopy, in the first leg of the Europa League first round qualifier. And that, I think, is all the major news. Oh, and Hibernian won their game 6-1, but you know, it's Hibernian. They're not. No disrespect to Hibernian, but Stephen Gerrard's not their manager, so they're, you know, another British team flying the flag. Anyway, I don't think we're too far away from the second half kicking off, so hopefully John will be back with us shortly, and I can hand you back over, and then I can join in at full time, or maybe after extra time and penalties. You know, we could be in for a long shift tonight, John. It's certainly going to be. I'm just waiting for everything to be confirmed as ready to go. Yep, they are returning to the pitch, so I will hand you back to John Stuttard, who will get the second half underway. All yours, John.
I've just been laughing at it. Are you sure they weren't playing FC Scooby-Doo, Chris? Welcome back to Moscow for the second half. And, well, I'm still trying to get over a fantastic performance. Iron Mitch 6, I've been a bit more complimentary about your team today. I have to say you played really well, and you're very unlucky to be 2-1 down. So Wayne really making his debut for DC United. That was quite an achievement. For, you know, that'll be another great. That'll be a great move for him. Get away from the hustle and the bustle of the Premiership. Both teams are just about to come out on the field. I've seen the French team out on the field there. The referee's out there too, inside the centre circle. And, well, it's going to be an interesting 45 minutes ahead of us now. As Chris said, I could well be in for a long shift. I think he would see that as payback if it was to be the case, because we could have extra time and penalties. He's had 2 of them, in all fairness. We're back underway in the second half. France now kicking off, and they're going to attack the goal to our left. Croatia in the red and white check shirts will attack the goal to our right. 45 minutes potentially of the World Cup still left to play, and who knows what might happen in the next 45 minutes. 2-1, the game's still firmly in the balance. France have been, you would say, on statistics second best, but they've got the 2 goals to prove it. And also a little bit of news, both teams unchanged, so I'll run through the lineups in a second or two when we get a break in play, and we'll hear from Chris hopefully at full time as well to round things up as well, because it's been an unbelievable thing as an early cross comes in from the number 2 Vrezelinko, and it's cut out by Lloris inside his own 6-yard line. Vrezelinko going down the right hand side at that time. So let's just run through the French side first of all. Lloris is in goal, and you've got a pack more of Pavard, the right back, Varane and Umtiti, the 2 centre backs. As Giroud now looking to get his first goal in the World Cup, pulls the ball back, whip behind Griezmann. Griezmann will shoot though, but straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. Sumadic, who calls it well as Griezmann hit his left foot drive, swished outside the deep from about 20-22 yards, but it was an easy. It was a bit hit, it was hit quite tamely, I should say, and it was easy for the goalkeeper. As I said, Lloris in goal, and then it's Pavard the right back, Varane and Umtiti the 2 centre backs, Hernandez the left back, and then you've got the 2 holding midfielders, Pogba and Kante, and then you've got Mbappe on the right, and Matuidi on the left, and Griezmann in between those on the centre, playing central, and then Giroud is yet to score in the tournament up top. For Croatia, you're not missing anything right away. It's just the Croats having trying to play out from the back at the moment, but being stifled here in midfield. But here goes Rakitic. Bruno Vendel will just break off for a second. Rakitic playing it in towards the penalty. Shot comes in, and a good save. Lloris tipping it over the top. It was a good effort from Rebic. Just got to the left of the penalty area, and he hit a good left-footed shot, heading hurtling towards goal here. Good first-time shot. It was on target, and Lloris got the faintest of fingertips on it to tip it over the crossbar for a corner. Good positive start from the Croats. It's Modric who really ran the show in the last 20 minutes and extra time against England in the semis with the corner. Into the penalty area it goes. Header's in there. Vida's in there too. And then it's off Rebic and behind for a goal kick. To France's huge relief. They haven't really played well, to be fair, France. Croatia have played the better football. Excuse me, but find themselves 2-1 down as we see that save from... I'm just seeing a save there from the camera inside the goal. It's amazing what these TV people can do and get actual cameras inside the back of the net. And at the moment, if the way things stay the same, then Hugo Lloris is in line to emulate the great Dino Zoff of Italy back in 1982 and become the first goalkeeper captain since then to lift the world's greatest trophy as Griezmann goes on a run, but he's still stopped there by Rebic on the far side. And then a long ball forward up towards Mandzukic. Mandzukic might get there, and then Lloris having to chest it just on the edge of his own penalty area. He couldn't handle it because he was outside the area. And it was a good decision in the end by the French goalkeeper. Not normally noted for his sweeper keeping, but he did really well there. Now Pogba now given away rather cheaply there to Strinic there. That was really careless play, and then Vida lost the ball, but now a chance now. Mandzukic has nicked the ball back. Now ball played back into the centre of the penalty area and hooked away once again. And out for a throw halfway inside the Croatian or the French half of the field. I'm still trying to bring you remind you of the Croatian 11, but I'm not being allowed to because Croatia at the moment are playing some really good football and a good ball over the top at the moment. And Modric in there for the second ball down the right hand side, and then it's hooked behind for a corner off Matuidi. Crazy Pizza Gaming says hello, hiya there. He reckons it's going to end 2-all. So in his mind, it's going to be a long shift for me then. But the Croats will be hoping that they can go to 2-2. The ball inside towards the penalty area, knocked out, and then the shot back in right-footed, well wide of target by number 2, Vazelenko, and behind for a goal kick. Don't panic, says Kevin. I'm not panicking, mate, because I'm absolutely loving the commentary I'm doing here at the moment as we see a replay of Varane almost selling his goalkeeper short, and he uses his chest there, uses his nipple, if you like, to get the ball away. And that's the nice way of saying it. Right, so I'll just break off for a second or two because I was going to bring you the teams, the Croatia team. The ball's out for a throw. Now I can bring you that Croatia team. Zubradic in goal. It is unchanged from the first half. Vazelenko at right back. Vida and Lovren the two centre backs, and Strinic the left back as that ball is swept in there, but there was a possible offside there and out for a throw-in. So I've mentioned the back four. So you've got the two holding midfielders, Brozovic and Rakitic, wearing 11 and 7 respectively. Rebic on the right, Modric in the centre, and Brozovic on the left, and Mandzukic, who got one of the goals, albeit in his own net, is the man up front. Russ asks, what do you think the final score will be? I can't tell. I couldn't possibly comment because the way this match going, it could be any old score, and to be quite honest with you, it's great because what we can do then is enjoy a great game of football. And it's been, I tell you what, Russ, I've seen about 7 or 8 World Cup finals in my time. I don't think we've probably had this is probably the best World Cup final in terms of open play I've seen since 1986 when we saw that brilliant final between Argentina and West Germany in the Azteca Stadium. Here's a chance now for Mandzukic, lofting the ball in. I'm surprised he didn't actually go for a shot then. I would have thought he would have tried for that, but here's Pogba now over halfway, and he gets Mbappe down that far side. Mbappe is too quick for Vida, and when Mbappe keeps his balance, and then the goalkeeper saves the shot. It was a good run down the right hand side. It was a very acute angle for Mbappe to get it past Zubatic from that right hand angle, but he did well to even get a shot at goal. And now we've got a pitch invasion. The referees obviously had to stop it. We've got 2 people on the pitch being utterly stupid. And this is not what we want in a final that's up until now been an absolute thriller. And I hope these idiots that have come onto the field, and that will frustrate the Croats because they had a good attack building here. I've just seen a replay of Mbappe there just running forward. He's far too quick for the defender Vida, and the goalkeeper, to be fair, came out lightning quick, made the angle very, very tough, and denied Mbappe as he stormed to the right of the goal. Well, let's just hope that has not upset the flow of the game, those 2 idiots. And I've got stronger words for those people that come on. I have to say, well, Kevin has just mentioned it there, and I just think the game has been played in an absolute magnificent way, and it has been a good spirited match despite all what's been going on. But you know, it's been a good open clean game of football. I'm not sure whether there should be any yellow cards at all in the match, but France have got 2 of them. Bit harshly in my opinion, but having said all that, it's been a great game of football. Now Croatia now. Let's hope the game has always not put off his stride by a damn 2 idiots, and the goalkeeper just got a fist to it. Mandzukic was the French are claiming that Mandzukic fouled Lloris, but Lloris got a touch on that and behind for a corner. It was a good cross here from Modric, and there might have been an offside maybe, but no doubt at all Mandzukic didn't foul the keeper. And now what? We're going to have a change. It's going to be Kante, who's carrying a yellow card from an earlier match, from earlier on in the first half, and Nzonzi is going to take his place for the remainder of the second half, which we've now played, coming up towards 8-9 minutes now of the second half. Didier Deschamps now trying to play it a bit clever. Nzonzi, still a good player himself. A real opportunity for him to shine in a World Cup final. And it's 2-1 to France. A bit against the run of the play, and Croatia can feel a bit hard done by really in terms of they've tried to play football. I'm not saying the French have anything spectacularly wrong. It's just been the way that is. That looks suspiciously like handball by Griezmann, but it's allowed to go on. It was chest, said the referee, and then the ball deflects a couple of times, and now for a Croatia throw. Well, what a game this really does promise to be now. We've got about 10 minutes of the second half gone, and so far it's 2-1 to France, and the number 3 almost darted in there, and he did well there. And Strinic, he did really well to get the ball there. 10 minutes of the second half gone. France 2, Croatia 1. It's been a great match. A fantastic match. Now then, far side, or near side rather, is Vazilenko. Croatia stitch on the pitch. Anything could still happen with him and Rakitic. 2 big game players, of course, for Real Madrid, who played their trade for Real Madrid and Barcelona affectionately. No foul there. And here comes Griezmann now over the halfway line for the French. Griezmann, good tackle there. Good tackle there by Vida as he was going down the left-hand side there. Antoine Griezmann, the Atletico Madrid player. He's won the Europa League this year, and he's hoping to add a World Cup winners medal to the Europa League winners medal he won earlier on this year. We're inside over the 10-minute mark. We've had 11 minutes of the second half. France lead 2-1. Own goal by Mandzukic, and then Griezmann from a penalty after 38 minutes. In fact, the goals have come after 18 minutes, 28 minutes and 38 minutes. How about that for symmetry? A ball forward over the top and away by the French defence. Here's Pogba now over halfway, bringing Pavard into it on the far side. Pavard just decides to slow the pace down, and now finds Kylian Mbappe, and a good turn there, pirouetted there, but not past the first grab, but not past the second checkered shirt. And now here come Croatia, appearing of course in their first World Cup final. France appearing in their third, 1-1 and lost one. 3-0 against Brazil in 1998 when Zidane got 2 goals and Petit got the other one at the end. And of course in 2006 it was 1-1 in Berlin against Italy, but went on to lose on penalties, and of course it was overshadowed by Zinedine Zidane headbutting Marco Materazzi of Italy and being sent off and ending his career in disgrace as that cross comes in from the far side by Perisic, but well cut out by Hugo Lloris. Good assured handling there from the Tottenham goalkeeper and France captain. 33 minutes stand between France and the World Cup for the second time in their history. Foul against Lovren, or foul given against Giroud, on Lovren, and free kick given. And now here's a chance now for Croatia. They must hit back within the remaining 33 minutes. If they could just get 2 goals as well, that would be amazing. And here's Perisic. He's having a good game so far. Perisic gets a good cross in. I say good game from an attacking point of view because he's looked very lively in attack. His crosses it's gone whizzing out of play on the near side and out for a French throw-in, level with their penalty area, or in line with the penalty area, I should say. I wonder what Vladimir Putin is making of it all. And sat next to the FIFA president, and it's not Sepp Blatter anymore, which is great news for me when I have to do the presentation in probably over half an hour's time. Here's Mbappe now down the right hand side, inside the area, pulls back towards Griezmann. Griezmann definitely inside the area, back to Pogba outside the area. Pogba again, left foot is in! France lead by 3-1. It's Paul Pogba, the £89 million man from Manchester United, could well have put France on the road to the World Cup. A fantastic left-footed drive. We've seen some cracking goals today, and Paul Pogba puts France in touching distance of the World Cup for the second time. And Croatia, who have played so well in this final, have now got to find 2 goals to save their skins. And it was a long ball, flat towards Mbappe on the right hand side. Mbappe, good control, got his cross back. Griezmann couldn't turn. Pogba was waiting. His right footed shot was blocked by Lovren, and then the second shot with his left foot was just too good for Subadic. Caresses it with the left foot, the side of his left foot. And the goalkeeper, who in fairness to him was badly unsighted, could do nothing with that. And in the end, it looks as if France, my tip from the start, are going to win the World Cup, barring accidents now, because Paul Pogba has given them a 3-1 lead. As we've seen so far, you cannot write Croatia off at your peril. But after the grueling last week they've had, the Croats, is this match a bridge too far for them? Well, we'll find out in the next half an hour or so now. But it's 3-1 France, who haven't played well today. That has to be said. That's possibly their second shot on target as well, would you believe? And they've scored 3 goals, one albeit one of them was an own goal. But it's 3-1. And here's Pogba now from the restart after Croatia had given it away. Now Matuidi now back in field to Nzonzi now back to Hernandez. Pogba now the hero. I think he probably justifies £89 million tag and boast it to Mourinho back at Man United when he goes in for pre-season, and the chance inside the area. Giroud knocks it back in. Griezmann's waiting and hooked behind for a corner by Brozovic. Oh, I tell you what, it could have been 4-1 to France then. And France now, since those 2 goals, since that third goal, are now starting to play at their level best, the best that we've seen, that we saw them in the Euros 2 years ago. They chalked it in the final 2 years ago against Portugal, but at the moment there's no denying them at this moment in time. Although Croatia will say they played the better football, but that VAR decision may have has swung the game in the French favour as Griezmann's cross comes in from the corner on the right hand side. Griezmann will let it go for a throw-in, almost in line with the Croatia penalty area. Well, you feel a bit sorry for Croatia, but France have that class which England didn't have in the semi-finals. When you got players like Griezmann and Pogba and Mbappe, they are a fantastic side, and they were a treat to watch in the European Championships a couple of years back. They haven't been much of a treat in terms of great football, but they were certainly efficient against Uruguay. They were certainly efficient enough against Belgium in the semi, and they've been quite efficient today in leading Croatia at the moment. And if they can get another goal in the next sort of 10-15 minutes, it would make for a very brilliant grandstand finish to this 21st World Cup final. Croatia bidding to win the trophy for the first time. They were the first time winners of Spain back in 2010. But at the moment it's not looking like that way. It looks as if France's name at this moment, as things stand, will be engraved on that gold world trophy for the second time, unless Croatia can come up with 2 goals now in the remainder of this second half, as Perisic now has swapped sides with Rebic. Rebic on the left, Perisic now on the right, and that was his cross from the right, and then Perisic absolutely took his man out, but the referee has played on. Well, it looked a foul to me, but the referee has played on. This is Modric. Boy, they need a second half from him now. And you can't help but feel a little bit sorry for the Croatians, who have really brought some great skills and some great football to this final, but sometimes the team that plays the football can be caught short on the big occasion, and it's all down to the final experience in an international final. France had it from 2 years ago when they lost, and Didier Deschamps, there was a lot of worries about Deschamps before the tournament, but they had some indifferent results leading up to this tournament. But you have to say they haven't played the best football in the tournament. There have been better teams that have played football, but as a team, their team spirit has been second to none. But here come the Croats now with Rebic. His shot was charged down from 20 yards. Rebic goes in again and then tries to tackle his own man. Perisic is infield as well. Croatia must not panic. Good header away by Vida, but here comes Matuidi, and it's 3 against 3 for a second. This is Griezmann. Griezmann still inside the half, but France decide to go backwards and just slow the pace down. They don't need to go gung-ho at this stage, not with their 3-1 advantage. They just need to play the basics right, something that possibly England didn't do for the last 20 minutes in the semi-finals. Hernandez away from the defender. Hernandez been snapped up by Mandzukic. And here's Mbappe. Mbappe's shirt has gone right through the keeper and in. And Kylian Mbappe makes it 4-1 to France. The substitutes are all the field as one. France now, barring accidents and a 3-goal swing the other way, are going to be kings of the world again 20 years after they first won the trophy. And what a shot it was. There may be question marks of Subotic. Was he unsighted? Well, we don't know, but a good run by Hernandez away from a very wild hack by Mandzukic down the left-hand side. Kept his feet really well, to his credit. Good ball played across. And Kylian Mbappe first touch to control it then with the right foot. I think Subotic should be doing better for me. And I think that's a savable shot, but take nothing away from that 25-yard. We've seen some great long-range goals here this afternoon. It looks as if it's with Russia. It's going to be Russia from love for France, and it's going to be Russia from Russia with Ooh La La. 4-1 to Didier Deschamps. Frenchmen who look as if, and Deschamps is on for a personal triumph of his own. That's 4 goals for him in the tournament, still 2 behind Harry Kane, who's still a shoe on for the Golden Boot award. So unless Griezmann and Mbappe can score another 2 goals, it looks as if Harry Kane is going home with the Golden Boot award, which will be a great consolation for him and for England, of course, as Croatia now, who have played so well, and maybe the extra bit of time, maybe this was 1 game too far for them, but it's been a cracking match, I have to say. And I think good night nurse now for Croatia, I'm sorry to say, but they play well first half, but them 2 goals have really knocked the stuffing out of the men from Eastern Europe, and the trophy will not be going to Eastern Europe yet, that's for sure, but they'll have a good go at staying in it. They've come so far, and there were question marks after the 3 previous knockout matches had gone to extra time in every one of them. Would the tiredness come into play? It looks as if it has, and now from what looked a very open final, it's now turning into a possession, but it's still a good game of football. It's been an absolute entertainment. If the first half was for Croatia in terms of dominance, you cannot deny that France have stepped it up another 10% in the second half, and that's what's done it. And they haven't had the rigours of extra time like the Croatians have. They've done their jobs efficiently in the second round, and then in the against Argentina, although that was a bit hairy for them towards the end. and then they had that efficient win over Uruguay in the quarters, and then one goal swing in the second half against the Belgians. But it's been a remarkable afternoon here in Moscow. France, after 20 years after winning their first back in 1998 against Brazil. Oh, and a mistake by the goalkeeper inside his own 6-yard area. Mario Mandzukic says thank you very much and takes the opportunity. Real poor goalkeeping there, and a little bit of arrogance shown up from the French captain, shown up by Mario Mandzukic. That's a brilliant opportunist goal, but what was Lloris doing there? Well, if it was me, he takes a touchdown, then takes a touchdown. He knows Mandzukic is there. So what is he doing there? You should be trying to boot that. The first rule in the book is boot the ball away. Well, how about put the commentator's curse on France? Because I said after the fourth French goal, barring accidents, well, we just seen one then from the captain. Mandzukic claims his third goal in 6 games in the World Cup, and it's back to 2 goals now, 4-2. Same score as in 1966, of course. Who can forget that day? Well, I wasn't born then, but it's 4-2 now in this one in 2018. Mandzukic after 69 minutes. We've had 6 goals in this final, and dare I say, we could have more here. Here's Vejanenko putting that in, and Croatia now all of a sudden I've got their tails back up a little bit more now. This is some final we're seeing here. Well, you think then, Lloris, where was he? I mean, he's a guy that doesn't make many mistakes. Tottenham fans will probably testify with me on that one, but that was, to his own standards, that was a ricket. And that has gifted Croatia a potential route back into this game. If it can get another one here in the next sort of 10 minutes, we're in for some finish here. As that cross comes in from the left-hand side, it comes towards the near side here. In fact, the ball drifted out of play before Vejanenko. I thought for a moment Vejanenko was going to get his crossing, but the ball stumbled out. But Kramaric now is going to come on, and he's going to replace Rebic. So we're going to see Kramaric now potentially go on the right of midfield, potentially. But it would be amazing if Croatia were to score another 2 in the remaining 20 minutes, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility now with fresh legs. And Kramaric has made a bit of a difference certainly made a bit of a difference against Russia, you may remember, in the quarterfinals. I know they needed a penalty shootout to go through in that one. 2 Croatians jumping for the same ball. Last teenagers to score in the World Cup final. Pele, I think 1958. I think. I might be wrong. I'm sure he was about 19 at that stage. Very early on in his career. Yes, Mr. Pele indeed. 1958 when he scored in that final. Classic final. He was one of 3 World Cup wins for the legend. But Didier Deschamps is on his... if France can spar any more accidents, France could still be on... Didier Deschamps could be into immortality himself in a weird way in World Cup football, because he won the World Cup as a player and a captain back in 1998. He was only captain because of Laurent Blanc being cheated out of the final by a certain Mr. Bilic. Meanwhile, we've got Mandzukic and Umtiti with sore heads. But going back to Didier Deschamps, he was captain, of course, in 1998 and lifting the World Cup. And now, in 20 years on, for when he lifted the World Cup as a captain and as a player, he could well repeat the beat as a manager, and that would be absolutely superb. Now, Tolisso, who started the first few games, but obviously has lost his place, but to Matuidi will now come off. He's been a little bit quiet, I thought, Matuidi, I have to say, throughout the game. He's found out. He's saying, who, me? But he gets rid of that little bit of teenage tantrums, if you like, and goes off to the field, and he walks off the field. The French are still happy, though. One or two concerned looks on one or two of the French fans. It's still 4-2 to France, by the way. We've got 18 minutes potentially of this final to go, unless Croatia scored twice, and then we would have extra time. Gets a hug of appreciation from his manager. Well, France, Chris has said France need to be careful. They're taking up two tireless defensive midfielders in Kanté and Matuidi. Could open the door for Croatia a bit more. Well, it could make the final a bit more interesting, Chris, and he might still get your wish of me going overtime yet, but at the moment as things stand, France have got their name, dare I say it, on the World Cup, and they were my tip for the tournament as well. And I think having seen them playing the Euros a couple of years ago and play some really elegant football, they haven't played as elegant football as they did in the a couple of years ago, but they've done the job so far. But they cannot afford to make mistakes now. Lloris kicks long at 3/4 of the way up the field to my left, and Pogba wins the second ball out to the far side. Tolisso keeps the ball, or rather Mbappe, sorry, keeps that in now, and Zonzi gets the ball forward from halfway. Pick on by Griezmann now. Tolisso, the number 12. Tolisso to Giroud. How he'd love to sign off the World Cup with a goal in the tournament. He hasn't done so yet. The former Arsenal man now playing his trade with Chelsea. Free kick has been given to Croatia, and away they go again. This really has to be a fling now for them as Vazilenko comes charging forward down the right hand side. He's got Perisic now on the right. Perisic with a left-footed cross. The goalkeeper a little bit in two minds then. Only half away. He comes to Mandzukic. Mandzukic hooks the ball back and it's behind Modric, but Modric picks it up just inside the centre circle in the French half. Now Croatia come forward. Can they get a third one here? Crossing from the right, from the left-hand side. Hooked away by some desperate French defending here. Now then Griezmann. Can't get the ball away. Now then a chance again. Can they force a third goal here, Croatia? They've played really well, and they've deserved to score in the match. Vazilenko trying a speculative 40-yard shot with his right foot. It's gone one wide of the far post and behind for a goal kick. But wow, I wouldn't want to back against. I wouldn't want to back against extra time here. The way the French here, that was just brainless from Lloris. You just put your foot through it. It doesn't matter which country you're from. The first rule when you start out in grassroots or schoolboy football is, if you're a goalkeeper, put your foot through the ball and just get it away. That's the first rule of back pass football. Remember, goalkeepers can't pick it up. That rule was outlawed back in 1992. 4-2 to France. Here's Griezmann now on the left hand side, just jogging as he does so. Forces the error from Croatia, and Lovren. A throw in to France. Level with the Croatian, almost level in fact with the Croatian penalty area on the left hand side. 4-2, we're into the 76th minute. We've had 76 minutes in fact at the final, and it's been a remarkable afternoon's football here in Moscow. Here's Modric over the halfway, midway inside his own half, gets it forward. Croatia can't mess about with the ball now. They've got to get the ball forward, header away. It's just coming back at the Croats here. Quarter of an hour to score 2 goals, even less than that, plus stoppage time of course, so there may be still a quarter of an hour left to play. Here's Vazilenko back to number 11 here. Brozovic now in field to Lovren. They have to get the ball forward here, Croatia. They can't afford to miss opportunities here. What can they do here? It's Kramaric now plays the ball back, and a little chip forward towards Vazilenko again. Vazilenko knocks the ball back. Now a chance here for Modric to get across it. Left foot into the penalty area it goes. Kramaric and Mandzukic were waiting, and then the ball back, and then a shot back in, and just wide of the far post. Got a deflection, I think. When Rakitic had the shot. Yes, it hits Matuidi and it hits Zonzi rather, and goes wide. Mandzukic was in half an inch again in the way. It was the shot here was from Rakitic. Yes, indeed it was. And it gets a deflection. So Croatia have not finished yet. I thought it deflected. I think that was given a goal kick, not a corner, and that's a bit odd because it looks as if it came up at Nzonzi last. Oh, referee's made it right, old Rickett there. But I will say he's trying to let the great game breathe. 7 shots to France, 14 to Croatia. It will feel hard done by to be 4-2 down in this game, but maybe the exploits of the last 3 knockout rounds have probably shown in terms of fitness, really, and that's probably been the difference between the two teams today. But Strinic will keep going now for the Croats. Nothing to feel ashamed about, even if they do lose today, because to get to the final under those circumstances is no mean achievement. Let's put it into context. Forget about the substandard refereeing in the semi-final for the 60-70 minutes that they were playing against England. Forget all that. Let's put this into some kind of context. Croatia have done really well under the circumstances they've been put under and asked to perform under pressure in extra time, 2 penalty shootouts. It may well have been a bridge too far this final, but they're having a good go. That looks suspiciously like a ball by Mbappe, but the referee allowing it to go on, and Mbappe now against 2 Croats, still has it now to the right and then stumbles over, and that was never going to be a penalty. The Argentinian referee making that absolutely crystal clear to Mbappe. He becomes the first teenager since Pelé in 1958 to score in the World Cup final. And we've got just over 10 minutes of it to go. 10 minutes potentially of the World Cup left of the whole tournament. It's been a remarkable tournament with 1 goalless draw out of 64 games. And you've got to give credit to everybody that's actually gone for it all the time. The VAR's helped as well, and we've seen so many goals in this tournament. And I'm sure Chris Michael, when he's editing all this, when he's editing the compilation together in a couple of days' time, he will have quite a lot of goals for us to concentrate on, and so much incident and so many controversial moments as well to put into his video. But well, we've got 10 minutes of this tournament left, and unless the Croats can score twice, that's the way it's going to be. France just 10 minutes away from World Cup immortality, and of course no goal in the tournament for Giroud, who sportingly shakes the hand of the Argentinian referee and walks off to a good applause. He hasn't scored in the tournament, which has got him a little bit of unjust criticism, because he has worked hard in the tournament. Now Fekir will come on, and he will now run out as Bazelenko is taking instructions from Dalic, the Croatian manager. And number 20 is also going to come on for Croatia in just a second or two, as Giroud is replaced by Fekir, so he will go up front. Or Fekir, I think that's how you pronounce it, certainly how you spell it. Number 20 is now on the field, and we'll get that confirmed in just a second as the shot comes in towards the penalty area from Croatia and hooked away. Find out who's come on in a second, because we haven't had it confirmed yet by FIFA. We've got about 8.5 minutes for Croatia to score 2 goals to force extra time. 3 outright to force penalties, and out of play it goes for a goal kick. And it was the number 20 involved again, which I can't put a name. It's Prajenka who's come on, and Strinic is actually off for an injury. That's why it took so long to confirm the substitution. Topiatka on, but Strinic has run his heart out in the match. Better touch, and he might have had the French in a bit of trouble. 8 minutes left. France lead by 4 goals to 2 in what's been probably one of the best finals, and probably would have been the best World Cup final since 1986. Most of the finals have been very uneventful, to say the least. And in terms of an open match, it's certainly the best since been 32 years as regards World Cup finals. as Croatia go forward, and then there's another decision. Rakitic is sarcastically applauding it. Well, I think he wanted the free kick taken again. Perisic is furious. Rakitic is furious. And they understand that, well, it's one rule for Manchester City to take quick free kicks against Burnley, but not for Croatia in a World Cup final. Sometimes it depends on the referee. I thought he was a little bit fussy, but the free kick's gone in, and there's Mandzukic going down. And I don't think it was a penalty either. And Titi, I think, is also down. He was injured earlier on in the first half. It might actually not be him. It's Paul Pogba, I think. No, it is Paul Pogba. I was wrong there. He's battling along with Mandzukic now and then. What happens here? Well, in fact, I think it's a foul on Pogba because Mandzukic has clearly got a fistful of his shirt, and then something else must have happened there for Pogba to go down, which I didn't see on the television replay, action replay. But so we're now into the 84th minute. This is what happened again, and Mandzukic obviously. Well, I don't know why he got injured. Was it cramp? I mean, these players have absolutely rolled up their sleeves for the last sort of month or so. When they rolled up here in Russia, 32 teams came here a month ago, looking to win the world's greatest prize. As things stand, France are going to be the outright winners unless Croatia can find 2 goals in 5.5 minutes. Plus stoppage time, of course. Can they find it? Here they come now on the far side. Can they force a grandstand finish? Header away. It's been an absolute enjoyable final. I've enjoyed every single minute of it. Now Vasylenko to Brianni. Brianni now running at his defending, and Vasylenko would have been offside if he'd have got the ball, and that's why he couldn't touch it. 5 minutes to go. Plus stoppage time. Eastern European Croatia trail 4-2 to Western European France. Well, would it have been too much for England potentially? Looking back, I'm thinking it might have been, because the French have been very efficient. They haven't played the prettiest football in the tournament, but they've got the job done, and you can't argue with that. And here they are now forward, and that's going to be a free kick. Foul on him, foul there by Rakitic, who's understandably frustrated as Fekir is brought down. And well, it was a foul on the far side, and I think Fekir made a little bit more of it than it needed to be, but nevertheless it is a free kick. Pogba, who got the third goal to take it. French goals coming from Mandzukic, where he has scored at both ends now, Mario Mandzukic, as the shot comes in for number 5 potentially, but Fekir's right hand side shot with his left foot was straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. Just had to dive fractionally to his right and fielded the ball no problem at all. As Croatia now go looking for 2 goals in 3 minutes. It could still potentially happen for them, but at the moment it doesn't look as if it's going to. But you never know. Football's a silly game as Perisic crosses in, but an easy take inside his own, on the edge of his own 6-yard area from Lloris. No messing around this time. That was more better. That's more what we come to expect from the French number 1. And then just kicks the ball as far up the field as he can, and goes towards Subadic at the other end, beaten 4 times, but no fault can be blamed to him for the 4 goals that have gone past him. One unknown goal from Mandzukic, the second penalty given on the Hader VAR after after the equaliser from Perisic, a terrific 20-yard crack out with his right foot, and then Griezmann putting away the penalty. Then Pogba with a 25-yard left-footed drive of his own, and then Mbappe making it 4-1 with a right-footed drive from 20 yards, which was just too good for the goalkeeper. And then a bit of brainless football there to concede a goal, while Lloris and Mandzukic making up for his own goal at least. Another speculative shot that goes over the top from Rakitic with his right foot, and into the stand it goes. 2 minutes left of this World Cup. France's name, dare I say it, is being showing, going to be engraved on the famous trophy. Was played for back in 1974 when it replaced the old Jules Rimet trophy. The old Jules Rimet trophy was only 12 inches high. It's probably triple that height now, the current World Cup. And it's been a great tournament, plenty of goals, plenty of excitement, loads of controversy, what you come to expect in a World Cup final. But I think we've got clear winners here. And here come France. They've got a free kick given against them here, and the referee's allowed it to play on. He's letting the game flow. I've really enjoyed some of the Argentinian refereeing. He's allowed the game to breathe. He hasn't tried to stifle it by being too fussy, although some of his yellow card decisions were a little bit to be desired. But having said all that, one thing you cannot deny, that the French and that the referee's actually done very well in trying to let the game flow, although he has to give a decision there against Kramaric. And France have a free kick 10 yards from halfway outside their own half, and that will suit them just fine. A foul on Paul Pogba. So we're inside 20 seconds, a final 20 seconds of normal time. And it'll be down to the fourth official, which is Bjorn Kuipers of Holland. And he will tell us in about 5 seconds from now how much longer there's going to be added on at the end. And the Croatians, to be fair, absolutely jigging to a man, as we see the board flash up there. I couldn't tell what the number was. It looked like 3 to me. In fact, it wasn't 3. My eyes were deceiving me. It's 5. So the Croatians have still got a half a chance, but they need to score very, very immediately. But they're not going to do that when they're conceding a silly free kick like Pazarenko has just done. Really is brainless football, really. I know Tolisso was off the field when the challenge came in, so they may have been... Oh, dear me. Griezmann has just bought himself a throw-in, rather innocuously. But the French are cheering. We're now 44 seconds into the 5. Throw taken by France. I thought Griezmann thought it was a free kick. It wasn't, it was a throw-in. So there was no decision to give in the end anyway. Here's Vina now, deep inside his own half. We've got 4 minutes here, Croatia. They have a challenge and a good situation here as Mbappe now from a tired looking ball. Pogba to the right of him. It's 2 against 3 though. Croatia have got plenty back. And the end Pogba lost it rather silly, stupidly then when Mbappe was waiting in the centre for a pass and he didn't quite get there. Here's Modric now over halfway to the left hand side, to the right hand side. Good interception again, and they've looked so clinical, the French. Here's Griezmann. His team were denied 2 years ago in the European final by Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo's Portugal side went without Ronaldo because they lost him to injury early on in that final in Paris. But there's been no messing around today. Jazelenko's going to pick up a booking for his tackle, and that is a clear for yellow card. You can have no complaints about that. Griezmann certainly was taken out quite conclusively there by Jazelenko, who will pick up a caution card for all that. We're now coming up towards the midway point of the 3. We've played almost 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes of the 3, and we're nearly at the end of what's been an exhilarating month of pure world-class football. A tournament that's had ebbed and flowed as the 3 kick comes in, and Pogba was in acres of space in between 2 static Croat defenders. One of them was Vida, who managed to play the ball back to his goalkeeper. And in the end, Croatia now looking absolutely ragged. And that tiredness that may well come into play in the second half has certainly put pay to any chances they may have had. This is Griezmann now picking it up inside his own half, midway inside his own half. And he takes on the Croats again, and this guy's full of running. He never stops, Griezmann. Remember, he won the Europa League earlier on in the year, back in May, and now 2 months on from that, he's going to have a World Cup winners' medal to cherish. And, well, who can blame him? We're now playing a penultimate minute of the 5. And what a final it has been. Fekir on the ball, but the referee has stopped it for a free kick to Croatia. There's a pretty woman there. But Pogba, that was just, well, maybe that was just tiredness, I don't know. There's a chance for the Croats now on the far side, but the ball is answered out for a goal kick. And we've got 1 minute and 15 left of the 5 minutes. And Croatia are needing not just 2 goals, but snookers and miracles now. 1 minute to go. Dalic, but Didier Deschamps is going to make World Cup history. He's going to be not only is he going to win the World Cup as a player 20 years previously, he's now going to win it as a manager 20 years on. He's wrote himself a bit of World Cup history there, Didier Deschamps. He was also the captain 20 years ago when they lifted it up in that fantastic Stade de France stadium, especially built in time for the finals. 30 seconds of the World Cup left. France 4, Croatia 2. Seconds remaining. Can Croatia come again and score another one and really put more respectability to the scoreline? Not with crosses like that. They can't from the left hand side. Lloris is claiming it. Less than 10 seconds to go. The referee now poised to blow the full-time whistle here. Lloris will kick it long, and that should be that then. We've played the 5 minutes, it's all over! France have won the World Cup, and have won it by 4 goals to 2. The substitutes are on the pitch. Nice touch there from the 2 political sides of the country. Lovely one woman there from Croatia. There's water flying, champagne corks flying. And in Paris tonight, they'll be popping them away, that is for sure. It's from Russia we love for France. Ooh la la to them. As for Croatia, maybe all those extra time points in the last 3 games in the end caught up with them. But they played so well for at least 45 minutes here tonight. But it just wasn't enough. Come the final reckoning, it's Didier Deschamps' men who triumph. They haven't had to play their prettiest to win it, but they've been so efficient and so ruthless, certainly in the final third. Harry Kane, I also need to tell you, is the top scorer with 6 goals and wins the Golden Boot award. But it's France who ultimately take the trophy back to France for the 2nd time, and the celebrations will go long into the night. Well, what a final it has been. Unbridled French joy. They'll have the stage and the podium put up. Both teams will receive medals, unlike yesterday, which I thought was a disgrace. England didn't get any medals because they deserved a little bit of credit as well, but that's FIFA for you. And in a few moments time we'll have the presentation of this World Cup. But Gianni Infantino is the president of FIFA, and he will present the trophy to Hugo Lloris, who actually makes a bit of World Cup history himself. Will become the first goalkeeper captain since the great Dino Zoff of Italy back in 1982 to lift the World Cup. And well, Croatia, they played so well, and there's a good sportsmanlike spirit at the final whistle, because both teams hugging each other, shaking hands with each other. It's been that sort of match, really. Never a free yellow card match, that one. But the will be winners in the end, the French, and their second half fitness showed in the end over Croatia, whose 3 bouts of extra time just proved far too much for them in the end. Some players that didn't get on, Rami, absolutely delighted. And they'll all be celebrating in the Champs-Élysées tonight, that's for sure. They'll be celebrating under the Eiffel Tower. Paul Pogba probably now justifying his £89 million price tag to some extent. The Croatians go over to their supporters and give them a huge clap. Griezmann is absolutely in tears of joy. Antoine Griezmann here, certainly up there for player of the tournament, that is for sure. Poor old Mario Mandzukic has actually scored at both ends. Well, I say both ends, he scored in the same goal, but an own goal in the first half, and then he got one back in the second after a mistake by Lloris. Let's have a look at some of the comments. France looking so clinical, says Kevin. Well played, he said. Also says fair cop. Absolutely anonymous says well done France, best team in the tournament. Good to see football triumph. Well, they play football. I think both teams, I will say this absolutely anonymous, I thought Croatia tried to play football tonight as well, no doubt about that, but France had the extra quality which England didn't, and there's no doubt about that, no getting away from that. But the France were the worthy winners in the end. That fitness really from Croatia that was lacking. If they hadn't have had to go through all the rigours of extra time, who knows what might have happened. I'm going to take 5 minutes to get myself ready for the presentations, which will begin with the presentation of the runners-up medals in a few seconds. But right now I'm just going to hand back to Chris, who's going to have his summary of the game. It's back to you, Chris, for the next 5 minutes.
Well, how about that for a World Cup final? Full of entertainment, 6 goals, a record broken which has stood since 1958. We've had it all. A VAR penalty. It was really an incredible occasion. I've seen all the goals. It's been just a great final, quite frankly. It was lived up to all the expectation, and the best team of the tournament has eventually come out on top. But Croatia, a nation of barely 4 million people, has managed to get themselves to a World Cup final. Nothing to be ashamed of. They came here, they attempted to play football. There were no dirty tricks or anything. Both teams went at it, hammer and tongs, and the best team eventually won in the end. But Croatia did themselves proud. They've been a fantastical tournament, and it's just been a magnificent occasion. Both teams electing to just go at it, as opposed to, we've seen World Cup finals in the past where both teams have sort of tried to defend and not take too many risks, whereas this one, both teams just threw themselves at each other, and eventually we've got to a conclusion which France, all tournament, I think they have been the best side. It started a bit shaky against Australia, let's not forget. They needed a little bit of help from VAR and goal line technology to get past Australia, but after that they just went through the gears, and it was fantastic. They have been terrific. They've certainly got the squad depth, and Didier Deschamps becomes the 3rd manager who has previously won a World Cup as a player. So it's records being broken left, right and centre. But I mean, what a final. I mean, it's been controversy, tough decisions, referees made a fine call with VAR. We've had fantastic goals from Mbappe, Pogba, Perisic. It's just been, the beautiful game came to the foray in this one, and it was just fantastic. It is the final you want for a World Cup, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. Yes, maybe the penalty was a bit harsh, but you know, ultimately it didn't matter in the end. France scored enough goals. One of them was an own goal, should I say? And it was, the referee handled the occasion really well. So we're not talking about a bad decision that was made. So it's just been the World Cup in Russia. I've got to say, Russia have hosted one of the best World Cup. In fact, I'm going to say it's the best World Cup in my lifetime. That's for sure. But they've certainly had quite the World Cup that they've hosted, and it's been a fantastic tournament all round. Shocks left, right, and centre. Where teams get in further than anyone could have predicted, and it's just been brilliant. I mean, I've enjoyed covering it. The games that I've covered, from the third place playoff game way back to the first game that I covered, which was Portugal-Spain, which was a 3-3 spectacular. It's just been the tournament itself has been an amazing experience, to say the least. Easily the best World Cup of my lifetime, and France adding a second star to their badge is well deserved. They've been the best team in the tournament. I mean, we'll ignore the fact that I tipped Germany to win the World Cup. They went home in the group stage, but we'll ignore that part, shall we? But France, obviously, 4 years' time. Be careful in the group stage, people. Just the winner's curse. Let's not talk about that now. The France have been incredible all tournaments, and Mbappe's goal was terrific. Mbappe, to me, was player of the game. He caused all sorts of problems on the wing, scored a terrific goal, played a big part in Pogba's goal. Obviously, Pogba got a bit lucky that the ball fell back to him, but as I say, France, they were terrific. I thought them taking off both Kante and Matuidi towards the back end was a little bit risky, but ultimately they just kept it tight at the back and didn't really give Croatia a sniff. Croatia played some good stuff at times, but as John was saying, the fatigue eventually was going to set in, and after playing 3 games going to extra time, 2 of them going to penalties, was eventually the difference. But as we see, the France players now having their own go at the Icelandic thunderclap. They're not doing too bad a job, but Iceland have got that one nailed down. That's definitely their thing. But it's Didier Deschamps just hugging his coaching staff. I mean, what an achievement he's managed to do. He's won the World Cup as a player, won the Euros as well, and now he's going to win the World Cup as a manager. Not many people can say they've done it. Only 2 other people can say that. I don't know the names off the top of my head. I'm sure somebody else will know that, but he's the 3rd man to do it. But it's a terrific achievement from Didier Deschamps, and they've done it. They've been good fronts. They've always been competitive. The last 2 years, obviously, let's not forget they got to the final of the Euros, only to be beaten by an incredible Portugal team who overcame the odds. But France have been absolutely terrific. Croatia, they've done themselves proud. Definitely not a team to be slept on. They have their stars. Luka Modric. A lot of people saying perhaps he should be up for the Ballon d'Or this year. Obviously, he was an integral part of that Real Madrid side that won the European Cup. He's taken his nation to a World Cup final. Could he win the Ballon d'Or later on this year? I mean, Ronaldo obviously will probably be up for it, as will Messi. But is Luka Modric the dark horse in the Ballon d'Or race? Could he be the first man to win it other than Messi and Ronaldo since Kaká back in 2007? That's a long time. Either Messi or Ronaldo have had the Ballon d'Or. Is Modric going to win it? It could be something else to add to his accolade. Obviously, slight side note, the English will like to point out that Harry Kane obviously has now got the Golden Boot to his name, which will be a slight consolation for an England side which, have not. Well, let's be honest. England did really well to get to the semi-finals. Obviously, Belgium finishing 3rd, deservedly so. They were definitely at least, they should have at least got to the semi-final. They'll feel aggrieved to have not got there, and then watch France win the World Cup against Croatia. Who knows how Belgium would have got on, but they, obviously didn't get past France. And Belgium will sit there and say, well, we got beat by the eventual winners, so they can't feel too hard done by in that regard. But the World Cup as a whole has been an incredible experience. We've seen incredible goals, upsets, behaviour from some fans has been exemplary. Shout out to the Japan fans and the Senegal fans who are cleaning up the stadiums after the match was over. The fans in general have been amazing from all the nations. Everyone's sat side by side, regardless of what nation you're from. The unsegregated crowd, that's always something that I love to see at a World Cup as well. This whole togetherness. The football world has come together to celebrate the game of football at the World Cup, and it is just an incredible occasion. But France are the ones who are going to steal the limelight. They are the ones who are going to get their hand on the World Cup trophy in a few minutes' time once the podium and everything is set up. But deserved winners, France. I don't think anyone can complain about them winning. They've won all their games. I don't think they've lost, have they? So when you're undefeated in a World Cup, deservedly so. I mean, they've performed magnificently. People like Pogba have stepped up to the plate and, have justified their ridiculous price tags. Kante has been the usual engine room. Although he didn't finish the game today, he was still a constant thorn in every opposition, as was Matuidi. That defensive midfield core that they had meant that they were so difficult to break down. They had the firepower up front with the people like Mbappe, who were just ferociously fast down the wings, and people like Griezmann banging in the goals, either it been from the penalty spot or open play. They've just had everything, and I've got to say, their defence at this tournament. They may have conceded 2 goals today, but Umtiti and Varane were just imperious all tournament. They very rarely look like being beat. Obviously, they've conceded a few goals here and there to set pieces, but ultimately, I mean, obviously, Lloris made a mistake today as well, which he's lucky that he won't have to regret it. We've seen mistakes at this World Cup from a few top class goalkeepers. David De Gea made a mistake. Lloris has made a mistake. So it just proves that these world class players are human. They do make mistakes every now and again. But France all over have been the best side, really. There hasn't really been a weak spot for them. Lloris is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. The defence, I mean, Pavard as well has been a revelation at right back. Hernandez has done a terrific job at left back. As I said, Umtiti and Varane have been incredible as a centre-back partnership. They've got that protection as well from Kante and Matuidi, and then you've got people like Nzonzi coming off the bench as well, so they've got incredible protection. Then they've got the creativity up front, in the midfield as well, with people like Pogba and Mbappe. It's just their team in general, on paper. I mean, John obviously tipped them to win the World Cup from the start, which has proven to be a good shout, obviously. And they just have the depth, the spirit. The team's young enough, a good mix of young talent, like people like Mbappe, and then you've got experience in there as well. So it's just they've just peaked at the right time. Obviously, the thought of their memories of losing in the Euros final a couple of years ago would have been fresh in their mind. But that experience will have helped them today to deal with the pressure of being in a final. And obviously today they looked like they were running away with it at one point, but it would have been a little bit more comfortable had Hugo Lloris not committed goalkeeping suicide by trying to play chicken with Mandzukic in his own 6-yard box, which, fortunately he's got away with it. Otherwise everyone would be sitting there, reminding him just as much as Karius is being reminded of his mistake in a major final. But he's got away with it. He's been bailed out, and he's going to be the first goalkeeper as well since Dino's off, as John was mentioning, to lift the World Cup as captain for his country. But it has been a terrific occasion as we're waiting for the ceremony to begin. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about Croatia as well, because their run to the final was a good run as well. They beat England in the semi-finals, much to my bitter disappointment. Obviously, they managed to make the comeback there, but they knocked out the hosts. Let's not forget, that's no mean feat when you come up against the host nation of a World Cup. That's always, it doesn't matter who it is, whether it had been South Africa, whether it had been
You know, Germany, obviously in 2006. Germany in 2006 actually finished third as the host, so they did themselves no problems there. But the host nation is always a difficult nation to play, and they managed to dispatch them in the quarters. I can't remember who Croatia played in the round of 16, but either way, Croatia certainly pointing out that, you know, you don't they were very much underdogs, but I think they were massively underestimated. You know, people forget that they do have big stars. You know, as we've mentioned, Modric playing for Real Madrid, Rakitic plays for Barcelona, Mandzukic. You know, they have big names, and they utilised them really well, and it got them really far in the tournament. And they've certainly done themselves proud, and they'll certainly, you know, I've got to point out that the World Cup was from mainly the quarter-final stage. Obviously, Brazil got knocked out by Belgium, and Uruguay got knocked out by France. You know, it was mainly a European threat. The Euro 2020 is going to be an incredible tournament. You know, that's definitely something to get excited about. Obviously, Croatia will you know, certainly be highly touted to do well in that tournament. England obviously will be 2 years older, a bit wiser, more talent may have come through. People like Foden and Ryan Sessegnon may have come into the foray by that point. Obviously, France will be world champion. Portugal will be defending European champions. Spain will be looking to make up for their terrible World Cup, and they always tend to come back from things. Germany, obviously, now deposed world champions, will be looking to get their hands on another trophy. Euro 2020 is going to be an incredible tournament, but let's talk about now France as world champions, deservedly so, playing incredibly well all tournament, and it's just they have been fantastic. Let's go through some of the comments as well that we've got today. Obviously, well done France, says absolutely anonymous. Best team in the tournament, good to see football triumph. Absolutely, totally agree with that. Kevin Benson said France looks so clinical, well played, fair cop. Russ was struggling to pick who man of the match was. Well, I was going to give it to Mbappe, but I'll leave that one down to John as he watched the entire game. But Mbappe just... he's probably player of the tournament as well. It wouldn't surprise me if he picks up that award. His pace and his ability has been... I mean, he's had a few shady moments with his diving, but I think he's probably the standout performer in the World Cup for me. Definitely. That and Luka Modric. Luka Modric could be in for a shout with it as well. Let's not forget that. Obviously, Lionel Messi was on the losing side when he won the best player of the tournament when they lost against Germany in the final. So Modric could get it. He's definitely been a steady performer for Croatia. It's just incredible to think how well France have played all tournament. Croatia were hanging on in there. They up until the penalty decision that was given in VAR, they were right in the game, but after that moment, France just kind of stepped up another level and just left Croatia behind, really. And it wasn't other than a mistake that Mandzukic pounced on in the 69th minute. But it's been a great occasion. And the World Cup in general, I mean, my experience of it, obviously commentating on a lot of the games. Russ obviously commentated on a few in the group stage as well. And John's obviously done a lot as well. It's been, for us, it's been an incredible experience. Obviously, the comments have been very nice. People have been very supportive of us. John's approaching the 500 subscription mark as well. So if you haven't subscribed already, I suggest you hit that sub button. Let's see how close we can get to 500 for John. He's the channel has grown for him immensely, and this World Cup has been incredibly kind to him. So it would be great to see how close we can get to 500. But it's been an incredible experience for all three of us commentators in this World Cup, and it's certainly something I'll remember. You know, calling stuff like the Ronaldo hat-trick. That's something that will stick with me for a long, long time. And obviously seeing England get to a semi-final, I was commentating on England winning a penalty shootout. Let's not forget that. That was something that no commentator has been able to call since 1996. So there've certainly been some great moments, not just for France, for a host of nations have enjoyed moment. Japan ran Belgium so close. It was just incredible. And the World Cup as a whole has been just, like I said, it's been the best World Cup in my lifetime, that's for sure. Has it been the best World Cup ever? Obviously, that depends on your interpretation. Obviously, England fans will say, well, 1966 was the best because we won it. And, you know, how does this compare for France? I mean, do France value this World Cup better than the first one? The first time is always a great moment, but does this compare? How would this, like, if you were to get the two teams, how would the French team from 1998 do against the France team of 2018? Who would come out on top in that one? There's the question. Would Zidane and Thierry Henry and Didier Deschamps himself, the manager, split loyalties? Who would come out on top in that battle? That would be an intriguing contest. Obviously, we'll never get to see it, although I'm sure I could arrange some kind of match like that with my wonderful editing powers on Pro Evolution Soccer. We could perhaps answer that question. Who knows? But that is definitely a question. Which team would you take? Would you take the team from '98 or would you take the 2018 world champions? It's a harsh question to ask, but this French team are certainly full of talent. They're good enough to be world champions and deserve it. They've been the best team in the tournament so far. They knew how to win when they played badly against Australia, and that was the early signs. That's generally an early sign of champions. You know, when you can win and play badly, you know, when you play well like they did today, you know, it's just going to be a walk in the park. And Croatia ran them close. Well, you know, they did really well, but ultimately, when you have to play extra time in all of your knockout games, barring the final, this is the first game that they didn't have to go to extra time because they were beaten in 90 minutes. But you know, they've done incredibly well. Croatia, a country of only 4 million people. Let's not forget, you know, that a lot of them are saying the population might be even lower come to the next tournament because a lot of Croatian nationals leave the country to explore better opportunities. So for them to do this at a World Cup is it's just incredible for the country and their nationals, because it's really, you know, 4 million people. That's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. I mean, England has like plus 50 million people in it, I think, and it's just, you know, just to give the scale of their achievement. But it's been an incredible experience as we are preparing for the World Cup ceremony. I will hand you back over to John in just a moment or two, as apparently the ceremony is almost ready. The World Cup is being prepped. It's being engraved as we speak with the name of France on it, next to the number 2018. 20 years, 2 decades since they won it last, so they don't quite have to wait as long as England have. England's wait 52 years goes on. Croatia, obviously, we've never won a World Cup, so we should count our blessings that we've won one. But it's just, they've done extremely well, France. They've managed to proceed, and the World Cup ceremony is about to begin. The presentation ceremony is about to start, so I'm going to hand you back over to John Stuttard for the presentation, as Germany captain Philip Lahm, or the previous Germany captain Philip Lahm, is returning the World Cup to the podium, and I will hand you over to John Stuttard for the presentation of the World Cup of 2018.
Thank you, Chris. And Philip Lahm has delivered it there. We're just looking at a replay of Kylian Mbappe's goal that settled it more often than not. It was a terrific right-footed shot. Goalkeeper could have done a little bit better, perhaps, but maybe I gave him a little bit. Maybe I was a little bit more hard on him than I imagined. But Vladimir Putin as well, the president of Russia. Is there as well. Giovanni Infantino, the president of FIFA. There's Vladimir Putin. Today's not all about political gripes or likes or dislikes. It's all about the football. And as the presentation party comes up onto the podium, There's also the French Prime Minister and the Croatian Prime Minister there too, as well as Philip Lahm, who returned the World Cup about a minute ago. Kylian Mbappe, in fact, is going to be has won an award as well, I think, for player of the tournament, and well deserved as well. Certainly up there, and he gets the Young Player of the World Young Player Award, and well deserved too. Becomes the first player since teenager since Pelé back in '58 to score in the World Cup final, and a great honour for him as well. And he's proved his reputation as the world's most expensive teenage footballer. There's no two ways about that. Absolutely no way about that. He had a fantastic match, I felt, against Argentina in the quarterfinals, and he did really well. And there's Luka Modric, a very disappointed but proud Croatian captain, first up the podium. He receives an award as well, although he won't feel like it at the moment, I'm sure. That's for sure. He gets the Golden Ball winner, and I have to say he had a very good tournament. He pulled the strings against Argentina in the second group match and did very well. He receives it from Vladimir Putin, and one or two familiar faces on the balcony there, I see. But Luka Modric had a fantastic tournament, there's no doubt about that. France, definite world champion. Then I feel sorry for Luka Modric. He's having to try and smile, but it's hard to raise a smile when your team's just been beaten in a World Cup final. But he gives the fans a wave, and the Croatian president, there she is, she's enjoying herself, there's no doubt about that. She's got a big smile on her face despite her country being beaten 4-2. Now the team of officials, as Mbappe and Modric received have pictures taken together with their awards. I mean, it's taken them, I don't know how long it takes FIFA delegates and presentation parties these days when it's a FIFA tournament. It seems to take it forever these days, I'm afraid. It's been half an hour since the final whistle, and I have to praise CW for his broadcasting there for the last sort of 15-20 minutes, because I didn't think it was going to take 5 minutes. Usually the FA Cup's been presented, they're running around Wembley with a trophy at this moment, but the officials have had to get their medals. It's all quite a slow, long-winded process, all this presentation malarkey. I didn't think he had a bad game tonight, the Argentinian referee. His two assistants there, Mr. Medina and Belletti, and of course the fourth official from Holland, Bjorn Kuipers, as well, receiving his memento. And BAR.
Can I just say about Bjorn Kuipers? I felt like he probably should have refereed the final, because I think he's been the best. They do deserve their medals. I think the officiating on a whole at the World Cup has been very good. So I think Bjorn Kuipers, especially, I think as a referee, certainly won over a lot of fans. So he's been magnificent. But overall, I think in most cases the World Cup has been officiated really well. So apart from obviously the odd decision against England, but we'll ignore that. But it's been pretty good overall.
Yes, well, they celebrated as a team, as Chris said there. They didn't do badly, and the Golden Glove winner, in actual fact, is Thibaut Courtois of Belgium. And what a nice touch there by the French, forming a guard of honour for the beaten finalists, who really were in the end beaten in the end, but they've got nothing to feel ashamed about. Luka Modric, a proud captain, getting another hug there. They are heroes in their country, as Chris said a few moments ago. They're a country that is a very small country, born out of the former Yugoslavia. They reached the quarterfinals of Euro 96, reached the semi-finals of the World Cup, and now they've gone one better than that 20 years on, and have done really well to get into the final as the rain comes down here in Russia. Mario Mandzukic,
shout out to Courtois, winning the Golden Glove.
Yes, indeed. Poor old Mario Mandzukic. Well, it's bittersweet for him. an own goal in the first half, a goal in the second half, a bit fortuitously perhaps. Kavanic, the reserve keeper, going through there. Braninic, who didn't get on at all. Joe Luca, formerly of Tottenham, getting a hug there. And a word of comfort, I'm sure. But it's been a remarkable game of football. One of the best finals we've seen for quite some time. Probably, as I said, arguably since 1986. The finals from then on in, as the delegates are now completely and utterly soaked. There's an umbrella going on for Putin at the moment. It's a very long-winded process, the whole charade. It really is.
Why is it raining when Croatia are getting their medals? Come on, the heavens are feeling sorry for the Croatians. Goodness me. Trust the weather to let us down at this crucial moment.
Well, who knows, but let's concentrate on the real presentation here. There's the manager. What a fantastic job he's done. Zlatko Dalic. He's created history in his own country, and whatever happened today, he was always going to be a hero. Look at him getting a big hug from his president. And look at that. She's almost soaked there. And the FIFA officials have been rather late with those brollies. They're all soaked to the skin. I've no sympathy with the politicians, of course, but well, here come the winners, and what a nice touch as well. The Croats giving them a guard of honour as well. They're all they're all soaked with their French flags around their necks and heads and all sorts, getting their winners' medals from Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. Infantino, the FIFA president, absolutely soaked, but he's not bothered at the moment. It's not about them, it's about the French. They don't care if it's raining or not. They're going to celebrate long into the night. There'll be champagne corks flying in Paris and all over France. Remember, they were winners 20 years ago now, and 20 years on they've repeated the dose. Runners up in 2006, but Didier Deschamps is about to make history. Was the captain in 98, and now 20 years on he's the manager. Steve Mandanda, the former Crystal Palace goalkeeper who made a couple of rickets at Turf Moor, I remember, some 18 months ago. Arlo, the third choice, behind Hugo Lloris. A few of the substitutes that didn't get on. Hugo Lloris will be at the back of the queue to receive the World Cup. Paul Pogba giving it a kiss, I can see there. Torvan, who flopped quite a lot at Newcastle, was famous for wearing a tuxedo to every game when he was at Newcastle. I seem to remember. There's Mendy and Hernandez there. Pogba getting rather excited now, as the podium is I'm sure health and safety will allow that in terms of that, but I'm not. And it's torrential now here in Russia. When it rains here, it rains. But no one's caring at the moment. There's smiles and there's happiness all around. Paul Pogba, if he can produce that kind of form he's shown here at Manchester United next season, then I think he will more than match his £89 million targets. The Croats go for a team photograph. They're proud. There's smiles on their faces. They've got nothing to be ashamed about. N'Golo Kante, what a few years for him in his football life. Twice a Premier League winner with Leicester and Chelsea, an FA Cup winner back in May. Now he can add a World Cup winners medal to his ever-growing list of medals, and who knows, maybe more next season. And Antoine Griezmann, without doubt, one of the best players in the world, bar none at the moment. Better, in my opinion, than Messi and Ronaldo, although that could be debated. Luka Modric is also up there as well. He had a fantastic tournament. And Hugo Lloris,
somebody get the Croatian president of umbrella. God damn it.
Well, the Croatian president, well, I'm sure he won't be mind too much about that, or she won't. Anyway, never mind all that. It's the all important thing is that the World Cup is about to be presented. So we'll cross back to Chris after the presentation and all the celebrations to finish off what's been a remarkable coverage here on the JB Kite YouTube channel. And I want to say personal thanks to everybody and to all your listeners whilst we're waiting for the trophy to be presented. as Didier Deschamps. It's a very long-winded process, I'm telling you now. But I just want to say a big thank you to you, the people that have tuned in on the last 4 weeks and made the coverage what it is. I mean, to have the viewerships we've had and to get nearly 500 subscribers has been an unbelievable achievement. And I wouldn't mind a few people from France actually on the comment section express your joy and happiness. But here is this is what it's been all about. Giovanni Infantino and Vladimir Putin will have to step out as they all have a kiss of the trophy. Even the Croatian president herself, there she is, and they're all having a touch of the cup. So Giovanni Infantino will hand the trophy over to Hugo Lloris, the captain, who is somewhere at the front. And France, for the second time then, will be champions of the world. Hugo Lloris gets the trophy from Giovanni Infantino, the president of FIFA, and there it is! France are the new world champions! 20 years after they won it the first time, Hugo Lloris lifts the trophy high into the Russian skyline. Fireworks and pyrotechnics go off. What a tournament it has been. Confetti all over the shop. But it's France who win the World Cup for the second time. And I couldn't think of a more deserving team that deserve football's biggest prize. The red, white and blue flags are flying very, very high indeed. Paul Pogba couldn't wait to get his hands on the trophy. There are people doing Griezmann dives and all sorts sliding about. Be careful with that trophy, if I was you, it's quite heavy. But, well, they don't care. The pitch is an absolute mess now with all that rain. But they're not going to worry. They're not going to worry at all. They'll all melt the occasion. It's not every day you win a World Cup. The one thing they have to be wary of in 4 years' time in Qatar, or 4.5 years' time, is they must not go out in the first round. But what an occasion it has been. I'm going to bring Chris in as well for the wrap-up, because we want to... I want to bring Chris in as well for the simple reason that we both want to say a huge thank you to you lot for choosing us throughout the tournament, and it would be only fair if we brought Chris in at the final stages as well. So we'll bring you in at this moment, Chris. Sum up your emotions of this tournament, because you've been our star man, of course, and you've been fantastic. What will be your abiding memories watching the tournament as an observer and as a commentator? What will your abiding memories be of the tournament? Let's finish on a positive note, all speaking.
Oh, it's got to be the unpredictability of this World Cup. I mean, literally, big names were falling at the wayside, left, right and centre, and it was just incredible. I mean, Argentina, Portugal, Germany went out the group stage. Yeah, teams like Japan getting through. It was just madness, and the big games never really let us down. All the big games were spectacular, and it was just so entertaining to watch. And I think as I said earlier, this World Cup for me has been my lifetime, certainly, because round an amazing World Cup. He's watched.
Indeed, and I can only echo what has been said by your good self, and absolutely loved having you all for the last 4 weeks. We've brought you well over 100 hours of live action. It's been an amazing tournament, me and Chris, and of course my very thanks to him as well, and to Russ Vernon, of course, who was with us for the opening exchanges as well, and he did a grand job. And I also have to give Russ an honourable mention for providing us with essential info for me and Chris. First for him on the third place playoff yesterday, which was very great. We were grateful about, and of course all the information for today to get the formations right and stuff. I spent an hour before the match prepping up like you would not believe. But what I will say is, from Chris and myself, and it has been an absolute ball. We've had an absolute ball for the last month. It's a shame it's ended, but that brings to the end of our season on the JB Claret YouTube channel. But so we're going to take a short break for the summer, but it won't be a long summer, I can tell you, because we'll all be back next month.
A couple of weeks, only a couple of weeks, and we'll start again.
A couple of weeks, in fact, yes, a couple of weeks before Burnley against Aberdeen. We'll cover that extensively on the YouTube channel, of course. But from me and Chris, what a tournament, and as I said, from Chris and myself, we want to say thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts for all you people abroad and in the UK that have backed us to the hilt and have chosen us for your commentary, because without you we wouldn't have a channel, and we certainly wouldn't have done these commentaries for you if we knew that we weren't going to have the people listening. So we have to thank you, the listener. It's you we make it for, it's you that we do it for, and hopefully next year, in a couple of weeks' time, when Chris rightly says the season starts again with the Burnley Aberdeen games, we want you to join our coverage. Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, everything that will be covered next year, next season, and we look forward to having your company then for the next 9 to 12 months on the JB Kart YouTube channel. This channel can only grow from here on here, and this World Cup has certainly helped us grow. So from myself and Chris, I'd like to wish you a very thank you. I want to express our sincere thanks to all you listeners, certainly in the last stages of the tournament, for listening along and for hopefully bringing you the very best in commentary in the tournament. So for myself and Chris, we bid you good night for the summer, but don't forget, Johnny's in 2 to 3 weeks where we'll have our own unique take on Burnley Aberdeen. So for myself and Chris, have a wonderful summer, take care, and good night to you all. Take care. We've also on the news that France are the new world champions, 4-2 winners over Croatia. We'll see you in about 3 weeks' time for the start of the new season, but until then, enjoy your summer break, and we'll be back in late July for Burnley against Aberdeen. Until then, from me, JB, and from Chris himself, have a wonderful summer, and we'll see you at the end of the month. Take care. Goodbye.
Cheerio.